Well, g'day footy fans and welcome to the Senior Oval here at Sacred Heart College for round 18 of the Adelaide Footy League Division 1 season. Now, we may have reached the last minor round, but in this division today, every team is either fighting for something or prepping for the playoffs. These two sides, well, finals, they're already a lock, and they know they may well meet again in 2, 3 or even 4 weeks' time, with a lot more on the line. Always in the major round, our great live stream sponsors, the Banner Crew, 9 News, Buddy Bet, Sportal, Roll the Dice Racing, Archie's Footwear, Programs to Fit, Farmers Leap Winery, Dartfish, Sports Interactive and the Moseley Bar and Kitchen. Coming up is the third place Sacred Heart Old Collegians hosting the minor premiers, the Glenunga Rams. Thanks to Filming Footy, this is the Adelaide Footy League. Yes, welcome to the Senior School Oval here at Sacred Heart College. Phil Herden with Adam Jeffries. TJ is away on assignment this week. Adam, finals, so close you can almost taste it.
Yeah, when the sun comes out, Phil, my stepson asked me yesterday, why is it warm again? I said, because it's footy finals, mate. That's why. It's got nothing to do with Mother Nature. It's footy finals. So, yeah, super exciting. Sun's out. It's going to be a great game today.
I'm going to put you in the shoes of Coach Grimer with Glenunga. You've won the minor premiership. You get a week off next week. What are you hoping to get out of today's game?
Coach Grimer, he's just sticking the process. There's no rested players today for Glenunga. If I was coach, I'd probably be tempted to rest a few old sore bodies, but they do have next week off. No, he's just going to stick with it and just keep rolling on. No change for Glenunga today.
Meanwhile, Sacred Heart have had a wonderful season, having got promoted last year. They could still finish second if Princes lose and Shock win. So they've really just got to play every game, play this one hard and hope the results fall their way.
Yeah, Sacred Heart, second means a lot for a home final, so they'll go as hard as they can. They've got a couple of their best 22 out, so that'll test them a little bit, but they'll be going just as hard, but Glenunga won't take their foot off the pedal, meaning we'll have a cracking game. Conditions, you could not ask for better. Spring is in the air. I think that's going to suit Sacred Heart. What's your sort of tip on how the conditions are going to affect this game between what are the two best defences in the comp? Yeah, it won't hurt them, the conditions today. Glenunga are so good in the wet though, aren't they? With their game style, Sacred Heart will use the short pass a little bit more than Glenunga will, so that obviously helps on a nice sunny day. But I still think it's a 50-50 ball game. Sun's out, Glenunga have proven they can win in all conditions this year.
And of course we have our Buddy Bet. Don't forget, gamble responsibly, folks. Might just do a simple over-unders here. Two best defences in the comp. Do you think that will break 100 points in total today?
Yeah, other weeks I would say I would go unders, but I think today we'll go overs. It's a beautiful day. I think we'll see a lot of goals early and then it'll tighten up. But I think both teams will combine for 100. So give me overs, Phil.
Promises to be a wonderful preview for the finals to come. We'll be back with all the action after the break.
Nine News teaming up with the Adelaide.
And Crone takes the lead in the corner.
Strengthening communities through footy.
Folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on, or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the senior school. You can see the mirror behind us showing off the wonderful green oval on a blue sky day. Pretty warm, yes, today. There's just that feeling that the worst of winter is behind us. Spring's arrived, and of course we know what's the most important thing in spring. That's finals footy, and it's just a week away. And we're going to see 2 of the contenders today. Adam Jeffries joins me. Adam, this is the place to be on a Saturday afternoon, isn't it?
What a spot. Sacred Heart College, for starters, is a beautiful place, isn't it? And the facility behind us, the oval is in magnificent condition. Someone's gone out with the scissors this week and manicured it for the players, which is what you get at some of the elite private schools, Phil. But it's good for the players. They've been playing a lot of muddy decks this year, haven't they? It's that rain in June sort of kept the ovals pretty rough, but now sun out, grass cut beautifully like a lawn bowl green, and looking forward to a great game today.
Yep, just in the reserves, because there's a little bit of at stake in the reserves. Glenunga are finals bound. Sacred Heart are finals bound. Regardless of the result, will finish second. But Glenunga are 5th. Broadview are chasing them. If Glenunga lose and Broadview win, Glenunga will be out of the 5 in the final round. And at the moment, Glenunga are trailing by 11 points, and Sacred Heart have the ball. And there's not a lot of time remaining. Speaking of Sacred Heart, let's have a look. Well, firstly at the ladder, you can see it's first versus third. You can see Glenunga can't be caught for the minor premiership, but Sacred Heart could jump Princes for second if Princes lose to Tea Tree Gully. We had a chat before we went out, and we both agreed that weird things do happen in final rounds.
Yeah, we saw it even in AFL games. You see them. There's a few dead rubbers happening today, and there's not a lot happening. But in Division 1 with promotion relegation, that's what's so good about promotion relegation. It keeps these last round or 2. Everyone's still hungry, and I think you said before, Phil, everybody's got something to play for, bar the 10th team on the ladder. So
Nordic Nations.
Yeah,
yes.
so you can't come today and just cruise or be thinking about your footy trip, or ladder positions in the finals are so critical in a top 5, and relegation is, there's a couple of nervous clubs today, Phil, for sure, as it looks like they've sewn up the B grade game here. Sacred Heart with another goal.
Another goal, 17-point lead. Weird things happen, and you only have to ask Old Ignatians last year, who beat Port Districts, who went on to win the the premiership, and that shock result eliminated Ross Trevor on Collegians, who thought they were probably going to be okay.
Wonder if Old Iggies would like that game back after having to endure a pretty tough season in Division 1.
It has been a tough season for
them. But they didn't know that was going to happen over the summer, did they? But that's where. And it's interesting for Glenunga, isn't it? Because you have the week off next week, you don't want your players to have 3 weeks without football at this time of year, because when finals start, that first 10 minutes of the game, you can lose a match just with fumbles. So it's so critical. Glenunga, they've left a couple out today. If they're sore, they won't play them. But I know Sam Wonke isn't out and Alex Harron isn't out, who are obviously in their best, probably handful of players, but they would have genuine injuries. But they'll want to go full bore and keep going with the momentum they've got.
Yeah. They're in the middle of a gauntlet at the moment, and next week is sort of a bit of a half-time reprieve for them. I'll be fascinated to see how they do approach today as the game unfolds, especially if it's pretty tight, pretty late. Let's have a look at how Glenunga have travelled this season, because it's been mightily impressive. Sacred Heart, of course, home team Sacred Heart. Both teams mightily impressive, to be honest. I did have to go and ask around about the Tea Tree Gully loss, why that occurred, and apparently it was a lot of injuries very early. They were down to 18 players on the field pretty much within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game. So it was 21 versus 18. And they said in reality, if they had the substitutes available, a couple of those of the 18 wouldn't have been out there either. So we'll put that one down as the mulligan. Everywhere else, mighty competitive for a team promoted from Div 2.
Yeah, it's super competitive. I suppose in the summer all the hype was that Sacred Heart, talked themselves up a little bit, didn't they? They thought they could be a good Division 1 team. They lost to Goodwood in round 1 and we weren't sure, and that result's proven a bit of a weird one now. But yeah, when you look at that graphic, all I see is a couple of narrow losses and a lot of big victories, Phil. So they've had a sensational season and they're a genuine threat for the grand final. Some of the games I've seen them play, they've taken it right up to the top 2. They're as, for mine, there's 3 teams that can make it. They're as good as any on their day.
So we then look at the team that Sacred Heart are putting out today. Unchanged from what they put on Play HQ as the little air horn goes off. No siren here.
Might want to be louder if it's a tight game later.
I have to note that for later, but Sacred Heart have won the Bees as they won the season. I think all 4 of their teams are not just finals bound, but I think all 4 of their teams have the double chance. So that's a great effort across the club. What players are we looking for here for Shock today?
Yeah, there's a few outs as well. Tristan Kakura not playing and Sam Lauby as well take some goals out of their front half. So that'll be interesting to see who else can step up. Obviously, Alex Carlotto's had a great season. And I note that Patrick McCarthy, their other full forward, has not played since early in the season too. So I wonder whether he'll come back, because when they're all available, they're quite potent. Love watching Joel Cross play still, the old veteran, the 48-year-old, who's still, I think last week he had 22 disposals and 3 goals for a guy that's in his mid-30s. He's the cream on the cake recruit for Sacred Heart this year. Looking forward to watching him play. And I'm looking forward to the matchup of a guy I coached at Goodwood, Zach Sanderson, playing fullback on Michael Wunke today. Zando loves an ear massage. Watch for those two to be wrestling a lot. But yeah, they're a very well-balanced team. You can see by their reserves as well. If they've got a couple of injuries, Phil, they can bring some good soldiers into their team, and having that through the final series, Glenunga will be hoping their Bees can maybe get through as well. That helps as well. So they've got depth, they've got top-end talent, they've got everything.
Alrighty, so that's Sacred Heart. Now, let's have a look at Glenunga's season. And you can see just the 2 losses, total of 21 points in the middle of the season. They're on a 9-game winning streak. And really, could they have been much more impressive in their last 2 encounters?
No, not at all. Even last week, 27 points flattered Prince Alfred. They dominated that match. Kicked 1 goal 8 in the last quarter, I think it was, and they could have really smashed them. Yeah, all I'm seeing is 2 narrow losses away from home for Glenunga and a lot of big victories this year.
And of course, they'll get the second semi-final at home, where they are where they're 9 and zip this season. Glenunga team, a couple of changes for them. In terms of Sam Wonke misses, Jack Machette played in the Rezzies. Alex Haran is listed there, but he's a late withdrawal, replaced by Josh Henke. So he'll take that spot there. Who are we looking for today to stand out?
Again, I said I'd like before the matchup of Sanderson on Michael Wunke. Michael Wunke's always an entertaining player up at full forward, kicked a couple of rippers last week. Who else is going to step up in their forward line? They're an unusual team, Glenunga. In fact, they don't have a lot of small running players. They're a big-bodied team. Look for Michael McMahon now with the sun out, that guy to drift forward and kick. I almost would have gone for a buddy bet, Michael McMahon, 3 or more goals today. Watch out for him on the wing. But yeah, they're just an even team. Obviously, Abe Davis has been a star. We talked about the last round throwing it up. Does he play a little bit more forward today to save his legs? I don't think so. I think he's had enough time up forward. He's got next week off. I think he'll just go for it.
We talked about the buddy bet. Of course, gamble response, everyone. The 2 best defences in the league. And this is why I wouldn't write this being a possible grand final preview. I know Prince Alfred fans would not agree with that. But if defences win championships, these are the 2 best. And they've been so beautifully consistent through the season. They have not put in a match that they could look back and say, gee, that was really disappointing, given there were some reasons why the Teacher Gully loss was in there.
Yeah, even top teams can throw in a howler, a 6 or 8 goal, loss with some injuries or illness through the year, but these teams haven't, so that just shows the depth, the coaching consistency, and that's why I think we should get a really good game today.
There's Glenunga out on the field in the clash strip today, which is fantastic.
You'll be happy with that, Phil.
Oh, after that 4 district Glenunga game. That's my little bugbear. And just one of the matchups to consider, Abe Davis versus Joel Cross. if
Yeah,
they
wow.
get to battle against each other at some point.
Yeah, well, obviously Abe will have the size advantage and use of his frame. Joel will just be sneaky. Joel will be a good sledger as well. He loves a chirp crossy, so he'll be getting into Abe and working him over as well, trying to get a free kick against him, I reckon.
Both teams are on the paddock and warming up. The conditions today are pretty perfect. I think we've got a maximum of 17 degrees. Not particularly warm, not as warm as it was yesterday. Nice cooling breeze coming off the beach, which is, a couple of decent drop kicks from here. Not too much further. Conditions will suit.
I think perhaps Sacred Heart, they're very good here and probably use the short game a little bit more than Glenunga do. So when it's sunny and it's still, you can hit those 20-metre passes up where it's difficult to do in muddy conditions. So, but having said that, Glenunga's game style travels anywhere. They're so efficient. They don't muck around. They get the ball deep inside 25 and lock it in. No reason why they can't do it here today.
Yeah, I mean, they're that old Neil Curley adage, when you get the ball, you attack hard and fast, which they do. You don't have the ball, you're manning up, you're tackling hard and getting the ball back. And saw that certainly against Port District displayed, also against Princess last week, where I think Sacred Heart work well. When they're on song, it's their height. And whilst they don't have Proud today, guys like Tap always stands out. Kailotto, of course. Bradley Noble has been really good in ruck this year. If they get their tools clunking them from all over the park on a day like today, I think they'll do all right.
Yeah, Tap's probably one of the great back shoulder spoiling defenders in the competition as well. Not all teams have players like him that can go to someone and lock them down and spoil the ball all day and use the ball well on the outside as well. So they've got height, but they've got speed at ground level. They've got experience. Sacred Heart, they tick all the boxes in terms of what you need for a premiership demographic.
So the premiership window is definitely open for these two teams. This is, I guess, a warm-up game. What's at stake? Well, for Glenunga, I guess it's being in prime position for that second semi-final. They'll host at Webb Oval in 2 weeks. For Sacred Heart, they could finish second, but it depends on other results, which might be something we'll have a look at in a sec. They're not quite going for the coin tosses yet. The umpires for today, Andrew Crosby and Tony Simon, so that's a high class of field umpiring crew today. Guido Picaro, Sam Scarman on the boundary, Jason Riggs and Alex Scarman. So we'll give those umpires due recognition.
Umpiring for grand final bursts, these guys too, wouldn't they be, Phil?
Right.
We forget about them, but they're a team as well, so good luck to them.
Absolutely. I guess for some, I don't know if they get not rostered, they may just not get the 2 or 3 games that they seem to get on a day.
They might get the Div 7 grand final, Phil, if they don't perform well.
Look, Div 7 grand final can be an awesome game, and that'll be a week early. Michael McMahon and Simons. McMahon has won the toss. He'll be kicking towards us. So I wonder if we've got the scoring ends. Feels like it.
Feels like a little breeze just coming into our faces. Even on a still day, it's just always a little breeze when you're down near the beach. So,
all right, let's have a look at some of the other games, because we're going to keep a fair eye on what's happening around the Adelaide Footy League. Every game counts for something. Prince Alfred Old Collegians, Teachwood Gully, both teams playing for something. Prince Alfred win, they host next week's qualifying final. Teachwood Gully win, they're playing a final at Port Districts. Your thoughts?
yeah, what's the rule now? With Prince Alfred never used to be able to host finals because they had a few little issues with the league and sponsorship. They always had to take a neutral venue, so might just have to chicken on that during the week, Phil, because they'd rather still play at the neutral venue than here. So it's a big game. Teachwood Gully are capable on their day, though, aren't they? They played really well against Sacred Heart, albeit at home. I still think Prince Alfred will get the chocolates on the rebound from a loss last week.
Another game with both teams battling for something, Broadview and the Goodwood Saints. Broadview have to win and hope Prince Alfred beat Teachwood Gully to play finals. And it's about a 12-goal difference in percentage between if you combine those two margins, if they happen to catch up the percentage. Goodwood Saints, they win, they're safe, they're back in good Division 1 for a record 34th season.
Trust me, there's a few nervous Goodwood people through the week, and we might talk about them a bit more later. I expect Broadview to get the chocolate so they can get 5th, and for mine, they've been the most impressive team outside the top 4.
Okay. Brighton Bombers and Old Ignatians. Now, if Brighton lose, they could be relegated, but they also play a team that hasn't won a game on the field all season.
Brighton by 10 goals.
Brighton by 10 goals. Bombers safe, according to Adam. Port District and St Peter's Old Collegians. Port District fourth is a lock for them. They'll host next week's elimination final. We will be that filming footy, the stream team game of the day. St. Peter's, everything to play for, who haven't played bad in the last 2 months.
Yeah, they've been good actually since about round 8 or 9. St. Peter's, I say good, but much improved and come home with 4 or 5 wins that everyone wasn't expecting. I still think Port Districts will win at home, and I think Goodwood will just remain safe because of that.
And that leaves our last game here, Sacred Heart, Old Collegians and Glenunga. Time to pick a winner.
Yeah, it's a flip of the coin. I'll say Sacred Heart, 3 goals.
Yeah, it's a hard one because 2 very consistent teams on a beautiful day, the chance to showcase their skills, but both knowing they've got maybe to leave something in the tank for a possible second semi-final matchup or prelim or even grand final setup. So I'll be fascinated to see how both teams approach. I just think Sacred Heart won because, okay, when in doubt, pick the home team. 2, the weather conditions favours their height. 3, they've got a little bit more to play for. But then you look at Glenunga's last 2 weeks, how would you dare tip against them? There's great arguments on both sides.
Like I said, in Glenunga last week, it was only a 27-point margin against... Everyone thought Prince Alfred would be a lock for the grand final. They could have won that game by 10 goals easily last week. So they're in rare form. But like we said earlier in the call, Phil, sometimes last round of the season can throw up some weird results with players and motivation, etc. So let's see what happens.
It's one of my favourite broadcasters from the US, Chris Berman, says that's why they play the game, and that's what we're going to do right now as umpire Crosby balls it up. That'll be a first tap to Sacred Heart. Can they get the clearance? And even in the beautiful, dry spring conditions, you're still going to have your occasional scrimmage.
Matchups I thought were happening. Sanderson is playing on Michael Wunke. Look for a big wrestling match between those 2 today.
Okay. So, time for the tertiary ball up. Still pretty much in that centre square wicket that I'm sure will be a beautiful turf cricket pitch in no time flat. Sacred Heart go forward. Davis looking for another defender, goes back to go forward, kicks it out to the wing and finds McMahon. So we just recover some of our technical stuff.
Windier than we thought, perhaps here, Phil.
Yes, we have
down near the
casualties
beautiful Glenelg
to prove
Beach.
it. Okay. It's going to be a repelling play courtesy of Tom McDermott for Sacred Heart, but a quick turnover. It's 2-on-1 Glenunga here if it spills out the back, but a free kick given away in the process. And Michael Wunke was going to have an early shot on goal as
his brother tried to claim the
advantage.
Won't like that on
Christmas Day. I think everybody
lunch.
had pretty much stopped.
Yes, good call by the umpire. Not a lot in that experience from Mike, but Sando did have the little hand in the back. Not a lot in it. They let a lot of wrestling go between the marking players last week, Phil, so it'd be interesting to see how the umpires adjudicate those matchups today. Typically in the Adelaide Footy League, unless you give a real big shove in the back, they'll call it play on.
Yeah.
Michael Wunke's been a dead-eyed dick for his whole career. Phil, back him from here.
Yeah, he's been a welcome addition in recent weeks, and give the guy a big rap.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah.
I said it on last week's call. It's real, the commentator's curse, Phil, isn't it?
It is.
I never thought it was. I thought it was just something you guys said, but it's true.
Well, someone will probably do balance of probabilities and prove that it isn't, but it certainly feels that way at the time. Seb Kerrish with the short kick towards the 50-metre arc. Nicely picked up by Bjorn. His kick inside 50 only finds Cooper Brinkworth, who mops up well. Gets the kick across to Glorious, who's been one of their better players, well, was their best player last time they met. Now, Sacred Heart cross towards the T-saucer with the coach in Carlotta. He picks out the captain in Simons. They go into the pocket. This is nice play. Very nice play indeed. It's found Harvey Lambert. So we're calling from one end. Suffice to say, when it gets down the other end, folks, it's your guess could be as good as ours. But I can tell you that's a roll blue mark. And it's gone to Oscar Lovelock.
And I can tell you the breeze might be playing a bit of a part here, Phil, I think. You could see that kick. It looked like they're kicking in potentially to a 2 or 3 goal breeze this quarter, Sacred Heart. That was a rough ball drop that just dropped short fortuitously. It was a Clayton Simons' kick, one step laced out. That was pure class by the Sacred Heart wingman. Great start for him.
Yeah, moving the ball. Nice transition. Can they convert? It's coming back. And despite the best efforts of the Ram on the goal line, that is your first major of the afternoon to Oscar Lovelock. His 11th of the season. And Sacred Heart are on the board.
Yeah, that's one that Glenunga, you spoke pre-match, Phil, about them being so good defensively. Glenunga very rarely let teams go end to end. They got the ball in the back pocket there, Sacred Heart, and they were able to go up the line and then shift to the fat side and get the ball inside 50 and score a goal. So not something that Glenunga are allowed too often. Only an early sign, but we don't think Glenunga will allow that too often again today. So great start as the breeze again is playing a little bit of havoc here in the commentary box. We're back in the centre. Looks like we'll have a repeat stoppage, no clear winner there. Sacred Heart, 3 or 4 quick handballs and do get the ball to half forward. Out comes K Lotto. Now they cleared and gone out wide. Ball stays in play. Great smother, I think it was, by K Lotto. Glenunga pick up. Straight back down to the wing. Nick Wunke drops the mark under pressure from Tap. Scramble, scramble, scramble. Sacred Heart go back inside 50.
Top of the goal square, Carlotta was looking to take them up. From Sam Smith. Zach Smith. At a wedding last week.
A wedding in August.
Seriously, well, it was up in the Northern Territory, I think.
At least it was warm.
I was about to say, who gets married in footy season, but then it's
Not
probably
everyone
not
loves
footy
footy.
season.
There are a few people around that don't love footy, Phil.
Yeah, I've got to confess, I got married in late September, but that was a different life back then. So Sacred Heart trying to find the easy way to goals. I got a bit of a numerical advantage out here on the hillside of this ground. They'll kick it into a little bit of space. Good pick up and quick hands to Cameron Rankin. They're inside 50. Carlotta the pick up. Nice hands. I love the speed of which Sacred Heart are moving this football at the moment, albeit not totally accurately on this occasion. It'll spill towards the cricket club pocket, which is the southwest pocket here. And a glorious ground on a glorious day for some footy.
To the viewers at home, that breeze has popped up really in the last 10-15 minutes for mine, Phil. It was quite still when I arrived at the ground, but you can see that the breeze playing havoc with some of the kicking around the ground at the moment.
Yeah, we already had to do a little bit of running repairs to our mobile media centre here this afternoon. Thanks to Filming Footy, of course, bringing you the live stream across the Adelaide Footy League, including the women's finals. Div 6, Div 4, Div 2 today, and Div 5, Div 3, 1 reserves and 1 next week. This is Glenunga, chance inside 50. Offhands, a trip, not sure if that was from his teammate for Wiseman. Comes to Kerrish, he's got plenty of time. Kerrish often wants, I think, for long sleeves. I don't think we're going to see anyone in the long sleeves today. Ethan Moore to Dewhurst. Should find the player, except it ran under the ball, was Jackson Fox. Chance for a Glenunga turnover, a mark on the inside 50 just. This is Lincoln Bennett. This is going to be interesting. Distance okay? Does he just pop it out in front of goals and let the breeze bring it home?
You saw Michael Wunke from a similar spot early struggle with the ball drop with this breeze, so he might look to set it to the top of the square, albeit he's only 45 metres out.
Bennett, 1 goal the last time these two met. One of 5 Rams to have played every game in Division 1 this season. 20 goals. That's what he's kicked so far, looking for his 21st. And not on that occasion. In fact, not even a score. Not even a score. So it is 1 straight 6 Sacred Heart Old Collegians, Glenunga. Are they one behind? Yeah, one behind.
Can I have my buddy bet back, Phil, or have I got to stick with it?
You got to stick with it.
Breeze has popped up, and I can see that scoring is going to be a bit harder than what I thought maybe.
Last time we did a buddy bet, you won by quarter time.
Yes,
so.
true.
And don't worry.
That won't happen today.
That won't happen. No, well, wouldn't have thought so. And look, I reckon it's going to be a deadlock, and then someone's going to break, and then the scoring will be on for young and old. But it is Glenunga who are doing pretty well off half back to keep sending it forward. But Joel Cross, an early touch for him. He's trying to find Bradley Noble, and at the moment both teams doing pretty well with the turnovers and the intercept marks.
Very risky kick there by the veteran Cross, and you can see that he's trying to pierce it through the breeze, and very, very difficult at the moment.
Abe Davis, I don't think he's got a single player behind him. They're all in the northern half of the ground. Inside 50. Karish is at the back. And again, some nice movement of hands through Cross to Hilliard. And I reckon if I wasn't here commentating, Adam, I reckon that might be the place I wouldn't mind being. Just nicely perched with a good refreshment in the deck chair under the Moreton Bay figs. Loving life.
Yeah, great spot to be. Great spot to watch football here, actually, isn't it? Yeah. It's awesome.
So from the contest on the 50-metre arc, we've gone almost 9 minutes of play. And speaking of Moreton Bay Fig, they might have to stop the game because there's part of one on the oval at the moment.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? What's the rule there, Phil? So the ball stayed in play. It's hit the tree. What's the rule that Eddie had?
The tree must have been deemed to be
in play.
Otherwise, that's got to be on the full.
If it's the roof at Marvel Stadium, what do? What's the rule? Ball up?
Hasn't happened in a footy game yet. Happened in a couple of cricket ones.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
I'll tell you what.
I have to trim those trees at Sacred Heart Groundsman.
I've been calling sport for 35 years, and I've never had a footy game where they've kicked it into a tree on the field of play. But there you go. Noble will bring it back. No matter how long you do this game for, Adam, you'll always find something new and different. That's what makes it such fun.
So you can see the contrasting game styles already, can't you, Phil? Every time Sacred Heart look to handball out of stoppage and they look to switch the ball. Glenunga won't handball too much out of stoppage and they'll look to kick long. So contrasting game styles that these two teams have. Both can be effective, of course, but certainly at either end of the scale.
Simons has the free. I think that was
a bit of afters after that boundary throw-in, I think.
I think it might have been a deliberate knock it out. Hang on, no, that can't be right. We don't have deliberate in the Adelaide Footy League. So, I'll have to go and watch the replay a little later to find out. So Glenunga are trying to get possession to work it forward. Zach Smith did get it. Overkicked it. That's the breeze in action. Missed the target in Fox. Glenunga still pushing it forward without really getting a possession. Karish has been particularly busy for Sacred Heart so far. In the end, it will be a ball up.
A lot of ball ups, a lot of ball on the ground. Like I said, the breeze playing havoc with the foot skills so far.
Spills out of the pack. Bjorn trying to find it. Was he deemed to have been pushed? Yes, no, other way around. Going the way of Glorious.
And again, they'll look to switch rather than take the territory.
Simon's playing. I prefer using the term sweeper. Don't like the term quarterback. If they don't throw it, they're not a quarterback. They're dicing with the Moreton Bay Figs again, but on this occasion, Hilliard's kick finds a target without
Do they pay
damaging
the mark
our
off
environment.
The fig, off the tree? If they mark it direct off the tree, is it a mark or is it touched?
I don't know. I reckon it's a whole element of a rule book that hasn't been looked at for a while.
We need to ask the umpires that at quarter time.
Because, of course, yeah. Well, it's on the 50-metre arc. No one's really had a shot in anger in about the last 6 minutes. It's been played between the 50s. And sure enough, Glenunga's defence, which is, I'm trying to remember, between them, they've allowed the two least scores, and there's like about a goal between them in terms of points allowed. Here's a chance. It's Lovelock's kick. It's inside forward 50. Bounce is going to be critical, as is recovery and keeping your feet. Glenunga did that better. It's not exactly the prettiest football at the moment. And no shortage of turnovers. On this occasion, Dewhurst has it. Luke Dewhurst, attacking edge of the centre square. It's 6-1 in favour of Sacred Heart Old Collegians. Going into that pocket, and the breeze took that. So it's definitely blowing south to north, but I reckon it's also blowing a little bit east to west based on that kick.
Interesting decision to go that wide rather than get the ball deep and put the opposition under pressure. But like I said, they do like to use the ball short and sideways, Sacred Heart.
Well, the other thing is, if it's marked there, and if that's the way the breeze is blowing, then the player, even if it paid off, the player with the ball is wide and is kicking into a pretty strong breeze, so it's a low percentage situation. Well done by Lovelock, who lost track of the ball there momentarily, then fought to get it back in a 1-1 batter with Wiseman. There's your Glenunga coaching staff.
Wondering where this breeze came from. I'm just asking, how come it's so windy down here by the beach?
Yeah. Well,
No, not as much up at Glenunga. It's normally a little bit stiller.
Yep, and of course Glenunga won the toss and they are kicking with it at the moment, so Sacred Heart would be pretty happy that they've kept the Rams goalless in the first 13 and a half minutes of this first quarter.
Clayton Simons has been a star so far in this game, hasn't he, Phil? He's at least had half a dozen disposals so far, behind the footy and forward of the football as well.
Not surprisingly, the best players so far have been your defenders. And Simons certainly has a very structured role when they have it without pressure to coordinate some things. Meanwhile, they're a bit further outfield. That's Zach Sanderson. Gets it back to Brinkworth, to the top of the square where we said put it there and let's see what happens. On this occasion, Zach Smith is what happens. He gets it, heads towards that sideline. Karish is up a little bit. 1-2 hand pass didn't quite come back to him. Well worked by Fox to recover from his 4 hand pass to kick it forward. But Glenunga, I might get a pick up at him. It feels like there's a loose player or two because every time it goes inside 50 direct, the other team has the number. And look, here's a case in point.
Here's a fast break
Here's
coming
a pass to Bjorn. It's a race for pace. Bjorn's taken 2 bounces, looks at the goals, does the dribble and misses.
Great chase there by Tap, wasn't it? I thought Bjorn with his leg speed might be able to outrun the big fella, but Tap put on a great chase and just forced him to kick it a little bit earlier. But that's what can happen. They pressed up so high, the ball got out the back, and Glenunga looking dangerous on that occasion.
Well, the theory is if everything else is equal, the player without the ball should be able to run faster than the one with it. As Simons, as we just said earlier, was playing a great game, has put one down the throat of Coach Nathan Grimer.
He's pretty happy with that.
I got a
Nathan.
touch. I take a mark. Of course, multiple premiership player with Central District back in the day. Big game for them today.
Yeah, they can play finals footy for the first time in a few years, can't they, Phil?
Just got to beat Port Adelaide at home, and there's a grab and a mark. Michael Wonke saying this is what a football looks like, and I have it in my hand.
Loves showing everyone when he's taking the mark, but that's where Zach Sanderson needs to get better. Michael Wonke is so good at pushing his player under the ball. You've got to play on his back shoulder. They had 2 in front of him on that occasion. You need to have 1 behind and 1 in front, and that mark wouldn't have been able to be taken. Can I throw the commentator's curse out this time, Phil? I'm backing the big fella in.
He's had the sighter. Comes in, will be about 45 metres out. That's come off the side of the boot. So that's 3 set shots a goal. Well, okay. We've had
Crouching umpire here.
Alrighty.
I know we've said it a few times, Phil. This is a windy day now here.
Yeah.
It was so still half. Michael Wonke's got a beautiful ball drop, and you could see that hit the side of his foot before. So, it's going to be testing for the players. But this is what happens in September as well. You spoke about the weather. Those windy days pop up in September, and preliminary finals and grand finals can be played in windy conditions. But you'd imagine from 20 metres out, you should be able to kick a goal.
Josh Henke, the late inclusion shows how it's done.
Done it.
He's dobbed Glenunga's first. And with that, they take the lead. 1-2-8 to 1 straight 6. Just going to see if he's been put in the side. He hasn't, because I want to check if that was actually his first goal for the season. So I'll get you to talk through the play and I'll do a quick stats check.
Yeah, again, you could see the breeze playing havoc with Michael Wonke's set shot for goal. And the ball stayed in play. I don't think Sacred Heart was set up for it. They were anticipating it would either be a goal or behind that went well behind, and they were setting up for a kick out. The ball bobbled around, and unfortunately for Sacred Heart, he got stuck sitting on the footy. Glenunga smart. You know, these days footballers are smart. They sit on top, call the umpire, and the umpire obliged.
Back in the middle, 2-point footy game in favour of the visitors, the minor premiers.
Abe Davis quiet to start this game. They've been close to him at all the stoppages thus far.
And he'd been really, I remember that Port District game, he was dominant early, really set the...
And he was again last week against Prince Alfred.
So Josh Henke, 5th game this season at A-grade level, first goal.
Well
I
done.
might have the chance to. It's interesting, it's his first season Regis didn't play HQ since 2018. I'm not sure what's kept him out of that system for the last 6 or 7 years. But anyway, first goal for the season at A-grade level. Simons will send Sacred Heart forward. There's a good grab.
Is that Sam Smith again? He's had a great start to the game. I reckon that's 2 or 3 at least intercept marks, contested marks so far.
Spent some time at Sturt. Also one of many Glenunga players who have played footy in recent times up in the Northern Territory. Southern Districts is almost like the northern outpost of the Glenunga Rams. There's about 4 of them.
Maybe that's why they've had such a good season. They all go play footy together in the summer, and they're finely tuned when they get back for the South Australian winter.
Yeah. Sam Parsons is the exception. He went and played for Banks, which is a different team in the top end. Well, I guess what would you prefer to do? Running laps around in 38-degree heat, or playing footy?
Play footy. You always choose to play
in the Darwin dry season. Again, between the posts, there's a good tough tackle on Lincoln Bennett. Umpire says nothing wrong with the tackle, but no per opportunity. I'll take it. 19 minutes gone.
So Sacred Heart have had 9 inside 50s filled just for the one scoring shot thus far. So Glenunga's defence again holding strong.
And if we're Glenunga have usually managed, they've done pretty well getting a shot from their inside 50s, but their goal kicking's, and it says 1-2, but there was also a couple of shots that failed to register. 25-metre penalty. This is Dominic Vazzari, former Marion Ram, spent some time at Glenelg.
Again, looking to go short, Sacred Heart, but at least it was wide. Glenunga can't
There's
attack.
A lot of
from
players
that
that really haven't worked out that the breeze is sideways. There's a lot of ball going to that coastal boundary. And gee, that's a straight wing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Groundsmen are very good here.
Of course, it is an oval separated by 2 streets, so I guess it probably has to be. Chester Foster is off and running. He's got a teammate. This is Fox. He decides too far out the score, goes with the pass. Tackle inflicted by Michael Annie. Battling by that boundary line where it eventually hits the behind post. That means it's going to be a throw-in.
Michael Annie's a name that obviously everyone knows with around Adelaide at the moment, but he's been very good for Glenunga. Young fella in the back pocket. He's a very good one-on-one, and last week he got a lot of intercept possessions as well. So, yeah, another young, talented player Glenunga have unearthed this year.
Out of their pretty impressive defence. Darcy Mitchell with the tap. Went straight to McMahon, who just fumbled at the inconvenient moment. Sacred Heart, they were going to try and go forward. Oh, there's a good intercept. Kick around the body by Oscar Lovelock. And, that in most circumstances would have been a goal and possibly the Neomorph Mouthguard's magic moment. But the breeze he popped it up and the breeze just denied it.
It just hung in the air, didn't it? It just wouldn't go through. Great pressure. Like I said, Sacred Heart, it's 11 inside 50s they've had now. So they're on top in that stat, 11-6 for Glenunga only.
But just there, did they get a behind with that one, or was it deemed
I believe that was a behind.
Okay, so it's a 1-point ball game in favour of the visiting Rams at the moment. They're going to have a chance to go forward now. Into a reasonably open. Michael Wunke got one-on-one. He loves those battles, but Sacred Heart come back to help. Yun comes through. This does Pinky, who I've got to.
You see the contrasting styles there, couldn't you, Phil? Long kick, Glenunga, contested mark. Long kick, contested mark. Michael Wunke would be disappointed with that one that he didn't take it. That's their game style. It's worked so effectively all year.
He'll clunk a fair portion of those if it keeps going that way.
If I'm Zach Sanderson, I'm playing on the back shoulder of Michael Wunke.
Yeah, you're probably not. If he leads, you're probably going to be able to keep up.
Yeah,
probably.
With all due respect to Michael, his work is going to be body on body.
And Michael looks.
He's fit now as well, so he's still not going to win the sprint contest. So it's unusual to say, but these days defenders have got to move their position to back shoulder. If a kick's good enough, it's going to hit you anyway. Yeah. But on those high balls, it's impossible to mark with someone hanging on your back.
Well, this is interesting. Abe Davis has it, and he was best on ground last week in Glenunga's win, according to the coaches who lodge the best players in Play HQ, and he was the best the last time these two met, and he kicked a goal in both occasions.
This will give us a good test of the breeze as well. 50-metre kick here.
From Marubra. Puts it high, lets the breeze do some work. It's carrying all the way home.
That's a stunning kick, Phil. I know the breeze potentially is back there, but a lot of players have struggled to execute the ball drop in this game so far today, but he just almost leans back. You don't teach your players that, do you? When you miss, you go, oh, he leant back on it. He just leant back. It's like a cricket player just leaning back and hitting that for 6 over cow corner. That kick looked like great kick for goal from Abe Davis. Great crowd up on the hill here as well today, Phil. How good's that? Yeah. Fantastic to see. Glenunga just settling in the last 5 minutes. Sacred Heart had them. They had the ball locked in their front half for long periods of time but couldn't score. Glenunga just starting to get some ascendancy. Still a long way to go in this game.
And I'm assuming that scoreboard needs some updating because they've got Glenunga's having kicked only 1 goal, and I'm pretty sure we've caught 2. Brinkworth puts off forward for Sacred Heart. There's a mark there taken by Jackson Fox. He wastes no time to where you wanted to be, top of the square, and that's your reward. A mark and a pretty good high percentage shot. Now this looks like the captain, I think.
Yes,
Coach, sorry.
That's the playing coach, Carlotto. I don't know why Sacred Heart don't look at that a little bit more. He's so dominant, Carlotto, in those one-on-ones, and sometimes they chip the ball around and go sideways. I know it's a windy day, but that was just a quick play on, long kick to 20 metres out. Carlotto's going to like more than that.
Now makes the goal umpire work a little bit, but Carlotto's got his first, and that was a bit of a steadier for Sacred Heart, who kicked the first one, allowed Glenunga to get some momentum with the next 2, but we're back to a 1-point footy game.
Yeah, he's spent a bit of time in the ruck this quarter, Carlotto. I love him at full forward, and when you're coaching the team as well, it's very difficult to coach while you're playing on ball. When you're at full forward, you can see the game unfold and you can make better decisions. So look for him to spend more time at full forward through the final series as the coach. But he's such a good mark. But the best thing about Alex Carlotto's game is he's one of the best kicks for a big man you'll see. He gets his hand right close to his foot, even on that occasion. It was a tricky little 20-metre shot. Nailed it.
Back in the middle. Sacred Heart, I think, have won just about every clearance that I can remember from the centre. Yep, I'm glad I wasn't dreaming it. And they're going to get another inside 50. This is Coach Carlotto with it. Too far out to score into the breeze, you would think. So he places it where you'd expect, top of the square. Puts the Rams defence under pressure. On this occasion, it's a quick kick out, but they won't go far. Darcy Glorious has taken the mark. Glorious made his debut, A grade for Sacred Heart last year. Under initial pressure, but they've probably got the numbers to work it out. Beyonna's a long way from home. Taking it out of defence rather than taking a shot on goal. Both these teams are working pretty high up their respective grounds, Adam. They're going to be tired by the time we get to the final quarter.
Yeah, that's modern footy in a way, isn't it? You're trying to stop the rebound and repeat inside 50, so your forwards have got to come up nice and high and make a contest. But then they've got to reset quickly as well as the little siren goes, Phil. Wow.
That's a fingers on chalkboard kind of siren, that one. The air horn. It is quarter time and we've got ourselves a pretty good footy game. You can see there the scoreboard. Glenunga Rams 2-2-14, but they had the breeze. Sacred Heart, plenty of inside 50s. They have 2-1 as a return on those investments. You're with Adam Jeffries, Phil Hurden, the filming footy crew. We've got James, we've got Liam, we've got Hugo on production. And we will be back after the break. You're watching the Adelaide Footy League.
Nine News teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable. So basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back, quarter time. You can see that's the thing about being a player coach. You definitely need some assistance off field. Whilst you've got to refresh yourself as well. Phil Hurden with Adam Jeffries. And Adam, you went out and had a little bit of a gander. Just to get that breeze, it is picking up. What'd you find?
2 observations. The grass is better than it looks. It's like the Adelaide Oval out there, Phil. It's magnificent. So kudos to the Sacred Heart groundsman. And B, it is windy and it's going straight up the guts. It's not going sideways. It is certainly favouring the end. Glenunga kicked that quarter. So, yeah, I think Sacred Heart did well to break even. We know that in modern football, breeze doesn't just kick goals for you, but it can certainly assist with the depth of the kick. But, yeah, Sacred Heart had 13 inside 50s to 8 going into the breeze. So it's an interesting quarter of football. We'll know more at half-time about what's going to happen today, I think.
All right. We do say that weird things happen in final rounds. I've got 2 scores, which don't give us a full picture. But for those wondering about second spot, Prince Alfred Old Collegians and Tea Tree Gully have reached the quarter time mark and they are tied at 25 apiece. So
Gully
off to a strong start, and the longer they hang in there, we know weird things happen in the final round. A lot in the relegation battle hanging on what happens firstly at Largs Reserve. They have just started the second quarter. Port District leads St Peter's 25 to 13. Looks like Broadview and Goodwood, I'm going to struggle getting some scores for most of the day. And I'm just going to quickly try and find what's happening down between Brighton and Old Ignatians. Any thoughts as to some of the best players for that first quarter, Adam?
Yeah, Sacred Heart had a lot of good ball winners. Clayton Simons for mine was a real standout, sort of playing a wing half-back role with his speed and agility and his kicking. Some of his kicking, a lot of players were struggling with the ball drop, but his kicking around the ground I thought was really good. So he had a great start. For me, it's just it's interesting the 2 teams, again, we've spoken about the contrast in game style. Sacred Heart, a lot of handballing close, a lot of sideways and short kicks. Glenunga, no handballing close, long kicks all the time. So it'll be interesting to see what works. We'll know, like I said, with Sacred Heart having the breeze at their back this quarter, we'll have a pretty good indication at half time of what's going to happen.
Yeah, if Princes have another draw, that'd be their second for the season. And suddenly, calculations I wasn't intending to make, if Sacred Heart get up, because their percentages are pretty close. So just to round out what we do know, we know everything except Broadview and Goodwood. Here it's Glenunga by 1 point. It's Port District by 12 over St Peter's Old Collegians. Prince Alfred and Tea Tree Gully are tied. And Brighton and Old Ignatians, you said Brighton by 10 goals?
Yes.
They're leading by 17 at the start of the second quarter. So that's on track for at least 10 goals.
Yeah, Old Iggies have played well in the first half in the last few weeks and then fallen away.
They pay badly.
So if Brighton are ahead early, not a good sign for Iggies.
Yeah, alrighty. So now we'll get a pretty good idea. It's a bit like a cricket analogy, Adam. Glenunga have had a chance to bat.
Yep.
Let's see what Sacred Heart do with it.
Will they change their game style a bit and go a little bit longer and direct? I note that is Carlotto starting in the centre square, or is he starting at full forward? I'd be playing the coach. He is coming down to full forward, Carlotto. He's a great target player they should be going to, just to compete at the very least. He's going to mark his fair share if he's one-on-one. So we're interested to see if Sacred Heart go a little bit longer inside 50 this quarter.
Yeah, Carlotto. last in position.
Good
at full
matchup.
forward against
Lotto
Sam
and
Smith.
Yeah, great matchup, those two.
Indeed. And the air horn blows and we're back underway. Second quarter. Filming Footy, bringing you round 18 Adelaide Footy League and plenty of other footy and sport around the country. I reckon that might have almost been a Glenunga clearance. It certainly
Yes,
will be now.
First centre clearance for the game.
First centre clearance they've had, and they're running inside 50, courtesy of the youngster and Hankey, who's had enough possessions. Because every time I look down, I have to find him as the laid in. He's had a few of those. Around the body to Davis. He sort of kicked that without really looking at goal. Just sort of went up in the air and came back down again.
It's like the last ball of the 2020 cricket. He just laid back and just tried to hit it, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was weird.
Which is great when you're kicking with the breeze, and he kicked a great goal. Putting it up and let the breeze do the work. It ain't going to work in the second quarter. Another nice tap to Mitchell. He's probably winning the rucks, but Sacred Heart are reading him well. From the boundary line, Bo Schwartz, TJ's favourite player. What do you call him? The tip rat?
Yeah, I won't call him that.
Even though we won't.
Just to that last
Nice
stoppage,
pass.
Phil, there was a heavy bump laid on Tom Boyle. I'm not saying there was anything untoward.
He's
He's still
not
down
up
in the
yet.
pocket. I'm not sure if it's a head clash. I think it was more in the side. Could be a potential rib issue. But it was a heavy old school football bump. Still slow to get up. Boyle in the pocket.
Meanwhile, Sammy Parsons has a chance to extend the 1 point Glenunga lead.
Not an easy shot as it looks. 30 out into the breeze.
Needs to manage it, and that side breeze is getting just about everybody. And that's an early miss in the opening couple of minutes of the second quarter. Sportal scoreboard. Glenunga Rams 2-3-15, Sacred Heart 2-1-13. So did you jot down in there, Adam? I know you're keeping track of inside 50s, what the inside 50 was at quarter time?
Yeah, 13-8 in favour of
13
Sacred
to 8,
Heart
okay.
by my count, which is how the game looked. They got a lot of repeat inside 50s. Glenunga don't need high inside 50s to score, do they? Because they're so efficient. But yeah, Sacred Heart on top at the moment.
Correct. I'll bring it down the beach wing. Davis getting it. The more this game goes, the more he's getting into it.
Been very good the last 15 minutes. I noted in the first 10 minutes he was quiet, but not anymore.
Yeah. Looking in if I just say in the wonky direction, I can't hardly be wrong, can I? If it's not Michael, it's going to be Nick.
They found Mike in the pocket there. Almost difficult one, but with this breeze, they're happy Glenunga to get a throw in, a stoppage. Like you said, Phil, their defenders will come up high press. They'll try and win a free at the stoppage.
Every player is in a quarter of the ground right
Modern
now.
footy, Phil, you love it, don't you?
No, I love that. Especially when it's not the quarter I'm in. Going to be very hard to find any space to get that leg swung onto a ball.
And that's why it's eventuated. It's the defensive mindset of not allowing the opposition space in their front half and your forwards coming up high to stop the repeat entry.
The kick they get from Bilby, but of course it's a rush kick under plenty of pressure, and that's out of bounds. On the full will be Kerrish to bring it back in, and Bjorn's up. Looks okay, man in the mark, which is good to see.
Good to see because it was a heavy bump, but he's
even
a
doing a
courageous
jumping
player.
jack for us.
Pressure forward pocket, even jumping on the mark. Love to see that. Sacred Heart look to switch the ball again, try and get out to the open side.
Yeah, I always find it's been a good indication of whether a team's switched on or not is how well the forwards defend. What they do when they don't have it in their hands. And
It's not the fun part of being a forward, is it, Phil?
No.
But the best teams, you know, local
Of course,
footy is about causing turnover in front half.
But of course, when you've got every player in the same quarter, it's hard to tell, was that a forward or a midfielder or even
True.
a defender? He's come up a long way. The ball bounces back inside 50. Was the top of the square. McMahon, the intercept, got the boot on the ball and somehow
post.
has missed hit the post, I think.
Yes,
Yep.
it did. Glenunga have had the first three inside
me or the
50s.
goal umpires used to touch the post
Yeah, they don't
first,
anymore.
then signal the behind.
Well, they weren't watching the goal umpire last Saturday night, were they? He touched his chest
Yeah.
first before he touched the post.
Oh,
Let's not talk about that, Phil.
Well, it just got to. I mean, umpires make mistakes, and I could see exactly why. In that cacophony of noise and players, that you don't quite pick it up. And Swans have got a fair bit of white. Did it touch part of the white? Because the goal padding's part of white.
He touched the post on the way past Mills, apparently.
Correct,
Which was
which-
very clever play.
Because in baseball, you adjudicate bang bangs by sound as much as sight. And if you hear bang on the post, that has an impact.
And the only thing I'll say to finish on that point is I think we're terribly harsh on umpires. You know, like, oh, they want to sue the umpire in the AFL for a mistake. What about when Darcy Fogarty misses from 20 out? We're going to start suing players when they miss?
I have to say.
You know, why do umpires have to be perfect and players don't have to be?
I mean, there is a reason why this game is played as opposed to being whatever the EA Games version of this is. And it's because the EA game does not have the human element. And it's the human element that makes this such a enthralling spectacle, and why sport can bring emotions, the likes of which few other things do.
He'll bounce back that goal, umpire.
He'll be right.
Back to the game.
Back to the game, yep.
We could talk about that all day, couldn't we, Phil?
Yeah, well, we will until something happens.
It has been a slow-moving game because of the breeze. Glenunga have had the first 4 inside 50s this quarter, so the team going into the breeze has been able to lock the ball in their half, which has been interesting.
Yep, and your buddy bet's not looking too bad, by the way. We did have the buddy bet of 100 points, and you
You're
took
on top
the overs.
there so far, Phil.
But 29, you know, it's 25 at quarter time. You're not too badly out of it.
Your call might be, you can see this game as a real arm wrestle. It's going to be tricky to hit. I know you called the game here early in the season, the Port Districts game, when it was like a game looking like this, and then late the goals came.
That did enter my thought process a little bit.
That was a weird game.
Yeah, what was it? 3 goals in the first 3 quarters. And
between the teams,
then, in totality. And then 8 goals pretty much to one side in the final. It's with Michael Wunke. He'll help you out with your buddy bet because he'll find a teammate in Davis. And, well, Davis will have no issue with the confidence of kicking it, and he's barely looking at teammates for options. It's going to be just inside 50 into the breeze.
I think this will be a tricky one, and I think he'll potentially look to go short. Michael Wunke's had a big influence, though, hasn't he? He hasn't kicked a goal yet, but he's taken 3 or 4 marks and looking to be on top of Sanderson in that matchup for mine.
There is value in being a target.
Yep.
And
you don't have to kick a bag these days, do you, Phil?
Go to the target. Players convalesce around they gather around the target and pick up the crumbs, and away you go. Just helps structure up your forwards if you can do that. Davis, if he kicks this, I will be shocked. He doesn't. And it's going to be...
dangerous position. A Sacred Heart defender would love to have just come back with the flight and rushed that through, but knocked the ball back into play to give Glenunga a chance.
Didn't quite land, of course. We don't have a lot of depth perception here. McMahon, that was a pretty good tap. That wasn't far off falling in the lap of Buyunon by the goal line for the goal.
That could have been player of the day, potentially, Phil. We haven't had any real highlights yet, have we?
I reckon it might
be a tricky one, the player of the day today.
Abe Davis's goal for Glenunga, and I'll have to think about Sacred Hearts for the moment. I mean, their play forward, there was one play where they moved it beautifully, would be the team play, but we've only got one mouth guard left.
Yeah, we'll have to wait. A lot of time left for a big highlight, though.
Yeah.
Abe Davis and Clayton Simons probably both vying for best on ground honours at the moment for mine.
That's courtesy of New Balance, and of course they get the iconic Dartfish beanie. The other one, best team player, which we sort of use for various things. If we feel the player wasn't best and didn't provide the magic moment but is deserving, we usually give them the Moseley Bar and Kitchen voucher, which is
good,
very
voucher,
popular.
Oh, good voucher.
Yeah. Alrighty, so this is Zach Smith. Sends Glenunga for, is that a clunk? No, it's not. It's off hands. It's a kick around the body, but they're a bit further away from goals than I gave them credit for. That was a Lincoln Bennett who managed to get the kick away, only as far as tap. His kick, though, McMahon picks up, has an open goal beckoning, and he's missed it.
It's funny, isn't it? We're talking about the breeze, and Sacred Heart have not gone past halfway this quarter with the gale at their back. It's amazing. 6 inside 50s to 0 in Glenunga's favour, and again, they can't clear the ball. 5
more scoring shots for a 5-point lead.
Just looking to be too precise, they are, Phil. You spoke before about Michael Wunke being a barometer, an anchor, a target to go to. I don't know why they don't use that on more occasions, Sacred Heart. Just go to your tools, get a crumb, outnumber. Just looking to go a little bit short and sideways at the moment.
Throwing all up, 40 metres out. Rankin almost uncontested. Got it back somehow. Look, there's another turnover, and that's going to be a shot on goal because That was a little crude in the
Schwartz.
tackling department. And Bo Schwartz, who, of course, probably kicked the biggest goal for Glenunga this season. It was as the siren occurred. You were there for that.
I did call that with Vince. Vince did a great job of that call, actually. It was a great shot for goal. Similar distance here, about 40 metres directly in front, but he does have a breeze in his face here, Schwartz. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes, if he can punch it through.
He's got to aim low at the left-hand goalpost, I would suggest. So he's gone high. And it didn't come back enough. So what do I know?
No, you're right, though. That was the way. Everything's drifted to the right, outside of his right foot.
Overcompensated.
So 2 goals, 7. Glenunga, just wasting some chances. And what normally happens in football here, a team goes coast to coast and scores.
They do.
That's what normally happens. Let's see if it can happen here.
We should tally up the number of football games that we've seen, because it would be considerable. And yes, here we go. Almost thought that was happening, but it's back to Davis. He spirals it back towards the top of that square. Shock's defence is hanging on.
They need a
you get
breather.
the feeling they're hanging on only just. And this might be their chance.
That's what they needed. They
For
needed
the first time they've got possession of the ball. Here they come.
Now the fast break's on if they can go.
Rankin to Lambert. Lambert, bit indecisive to Cross. Cross will know what to do. Yeah, and he'll do it with a visionary kick to the half-forward flank. Inboard is their chance. Here comes the fans to block the view, and what were we saying?
So
what
we
were
said
we
this,
saying
Phil,
a minute
this
ago?
is why we're paid the big bucks to
Yeah.
commentate local football. So Glenunga, this is their first inside 50 Sacred Heart. They got a shot for goal from 25 out directly in front. Glenunga have had 8 inside 50s and I think kicked 4 behinds in this quarter, or 5 behinds it might even be.
It was
2-2 at quarter time.
Yep.
So 5 behinds. Lovelock with the shot for goal.
right.
There you go.
Straight as an arrow. He's got 2. Sacred Heart have 3. And we are tied up 19-19.
I thought Sacred Heart missed an opportunity once they took the mark on the wing. They could have gone fast with the open play, but they still wanted to get to the fat side. And I think it was Clayton Simons again who delivered the ball inside 50 for his team. So he's having a great game. Was going to go on his right, wheeled back on his left, and found Lovelock, who took a good contested mark under pressure, actually, for a player of his size, and converted truly. So, yeah, we called it, Phil. End-to-end, 1 inside 50, 1 goal for Sacred Heart. Again, as we see a great crowd under the scoreboard here. Great crowd here at Sacred Heart.
And again, we've got the scoreboard saying 6 behinds and a 1-point shock lead. So we'll see if that's corrected. Certainly the goal got corrected, so we're leading 1-0 at the moment. We'll see at halftime if that point gets adjusted. Schwartz with the tackle. A little bit crude on Ethan Moore, who's got the ball, and another centre clearance. This would be what, 5-1?
Yes.
Well, they actually haven't got it forward a centre yet, but it should be a centre clearance.
We'll call it, I think technically you call it a clearance, don't you? But
Well, they've had the first possession.
And again, the sideways kick, Phil, before they go forward.
Yeah, but the trick is they're not going into the pocket. Their sideways movement is earlier in the piece. This is going to be a rushed behind.
It's a definite tactic and game style, though, isn't it? They want to shift the ball before they go inside 50, which the idea behind that, so people understand, is you're not trying to overuse the ball. It's harder to defend. When your defenders can stay on back shoulder in line with the play, it's so easy to spoil. When they have to move sideways and defend, it's incredibly difficult.
And I might add that the pockets here are pretty narrow.
Yes.
They start turning around very shortly after the behind post.
See a few out in the falls down there.
Yeah. But they haven't kicked it into the pockets yet. They go wide and they come in for the hot spot. So if they do get a mark or a clunk, it's a high percentage situation. Cross right by the boundary line is bumped over. You can see some of the crowd. You can see the scaffold. Give him a wave, Liam. Oh. Liam, our intrepid cameraman.
Do a good job, the cameraman on the scaffolds, don't
Absolutely. He's got the best view this afternoon. That's James on our mobile camera. Giving you a little bit of the in-close stuff today. So we've got it as a 1-point lead. Scoreboard's got it as a 2-point lead. Either way, Shocker in front by less than a goal. 15 minutes of the second quarter. Good pick up. Quick kick by Kennett. Very quickly repelled. And even the ball's bouncing in weird situations. Nicely taken by Parsons. He's got it on to Bowden. Hot footy to pick up, which is by
great pick up by Bilby there.
Glenunga has some numbers. It's back. I think that's Parsons who started all of this. Now this is where it falls apart. However, it sits up for Desira. His kick though can't find Nick Wunke, although he's still lurking around, putting some pressure on by the southeast boundary line where the ball goes over. Boundary throwing about 30 metres around, maybe 25 metres around from the Glenunga goal. They're 2 goals 7. Sacred Heart leading due to their accuracy, 3 goals 2.
9 inside 50s to 3, Glenunga's favour this quarter.
This
the umpire
quarter.
has pulled out a free to Glenunga, no.
So that means they've actually had more inside 50s for the game then.
Yes.
'Cause it was -5 and they're +6.
Yeah, +6. Nick Wunke's given away the free kick in the ruck. Lucky there's no descent rule in the Adelaide Footy League like they had in the AFL, because Nick would have given away a few 50s this year.
I reckon it's probably the same rule. I think it comes down to interpretation of said rule.
I think that's smart umpiring though. Nick does like to use some heavy body contact in the ruck and try and get his opponent under the ball. Occasionally he'll give one away, but in the forward pocket, no damage done, as again Sacred Heart look to maintain possession of the ball.
Brinkworth from the half-back flank heads towards the Martin Bay Figs. Early whistle, push and play. Sacred Heart are claiming it. Will go to the coach. What do you call that on his leg?
That's the one shin guard.
That's
for
the
when
odd
he
shin
goes
guard. That's
into
shin
the ruck.
guard. Yep. From Ethan Moore. Sacred Heart got some numbers here.
Great
Comes to the
spoil.
back again, and that's another point. So, bit of a points fest in this second quarter. Glenunga through missed shots and Sacred Heart through rushed behinds. And usually you'd say, well, don't kick it so deep, but it's actually the breeze carrying it
Yeah.
and the ball going through with some momentum. I think they're placing it in good position.
Great spoil that time by Zach Smith, though. He put that to the line rather than spoil it back into a dangerous position. The other thing to note, Phil, is Glenunga go to McMahon on a lot of kickouts, and he's so good overhead against fellow wingmen. He's marked at least 3 kickouts already today, so other teams will be looking for that in the finals.
Speaking of McMahon, there is on that occasion. Oh, that's okay.
Travelled 15 and a half metres, apparently.
As I said, we have no depth perception
No.
at all where we are. And if the first one was 15, that's got to be 15 to Schwartz.
Glenunga will just use some time. They'll go long to the pocket here and try and get a stoppage.
Exactly what they're doing, at least to the pocket. They don't need
Well,
a
if you get a
stoppage
mark,
because I
even
reckon
better.
Mark's a bonus. And that's Lincoln Bennett who's managed to clunk it.
Again, another good mark for his size, Bennett. That's a great contested mark.
You would think, based on what we think we know about the breeze, he's no hope. But
His eyes are looking around, has not even looked at the goals yet. Better off setting this up to the top of the square, which is what he's done. What's happened there? Looked like a clean mark. Umpire comes in. We'll have a ball up. Thought there was a clean mark to Sanderson there, but
Sean Tapp saying, where's my free? In the end, nothing was adjudicated except a ball up.
Simons again, deep defence.
Nicely intercepted. Is the kick back. Glenunga need a clunk at the top of the square and a goal just to get some reward for their inside 50 effort. They might get the
Might have a
kick.
free here.
Davis taken high is the ruling.
Yeah, they deserve that to Glenunga. They're setting up so well and applying so much pressure. 11th inside 50 for the quarter, yet to kick a goal. This is a tricky spot again, Phil, with that breeze, but Davis is capable of really punching a kick through the breeze. Some players kick and the ball hangs in the air. Davis really punches through the ball and the breeze won't take it as far.
His line up, his run up is almost as long as the distance he has to kick to the goal line. It is a 2-point deficit at the moment. Glenunga goal will put him in front.
That's
And
true.
that's what he's done. Abe Davis, goal-kicking machine, has his second for the game and his 27th for the season. Shouldn't be a great surprise. He kicked 36 last year for the Double Blues of Sturt.
Played more as a permanent full forward last year at Sturt, didn't he? And we all thought he might play that role for Glenunga this year, but I think it's been a shrewd move by Grimer to play him around the ball because he's so good at the stoppage. and he can mark the ball around the ground against smaller opponents, and he can drift forward and kick a goal.
Yeah, that's how it's done. Have the station wagon and bring it up and reverse
It's
park
like country football, isn't it?
It is.
Country footy vibe here today.
There is not much of a car park here. There is one, but there's about room for about 6 cars.
There isn't.
to
Yeah,
do
I'm
that.
about 7 streets back, Phil, I think.
I got dropped off, so I got lucky today. Kick around the body. This is a chance, Sacred Heart. I mean, they've had rare inside 50s, but they've usually got something out of them. Rare occasion. I reckon that was off the side of the boot, actually. Carlotto.
Last touch.
Last touch should be Glenunga's ball.
Only their 5th forward entry for the quarter with the breeze at their back, Sacred Heart.
And they've kicked
1 goal, 2.
1 goal, 2. So,
They've looked dangerous when they've gone in, haven't they? They just
Yeah.
haven't gone in often enough.
and a lot of that, I guess, is off a bit of a counter when you don't have everyone in a quarter of the field. Here's Glenunga's turn to counter. Desira, he sees open space in front. Takes a bounce, runs to 50. He's got an open
Great
player. Chance to move it on Bennett, but Bennett says, I reckon I can just about kick this straight in front. Now he plays on. Goes with the shot, goes left. There's the breeze bringing it back. Was it touched? No, it's marked.
He passed that. He wasn't shooting for goal.
Yeah.
I think is it Prosser? Big Prosser, I think, drifted forward there. I've seen him kick 6 goals against Port Districts a couple of weeks ago. And then last week he started on the wing, Phil, which was quite amazing. So he's a very versatile player. Great play by Glenunga, then end-to-end football.
And he's dobbed that. So back-to-back goals in the last 3 minutes to Glenunga, and showing that if it does get trapped up in Sacred Heart's defensive 50 and they get it, they have the ability to transition well.
Yeah, that just came about. They took territory. They take the long ball to the wing. They get the contest. Because they know they're going long to contest a lot, they're so good front and square. They know their smalls know what their role is. Won the first touch off the pack, got the handball over the top. Then it was an open field. I think it was, who was it that kicked it inside? It was a great composed play because he had to run down the wing.
Desire, I think.
Desire, yeah. A lot of players will lose composure and bang at goal, but he chipped it over to the free man. And they scored the goal, Glenunga. Big couple of goals, actually. I thought Sacred Heart were going to get on top there.
Yeah.
They played really well into the breeze, 12 inside 50s to 5 this
And
quarter.
you're now on top in the buddy bet. 51, 52
Yeah,
points
yep,
scored.
Yeah. Wasn't looking good in that first
Wasn't
10
looking
minutes.
good early days, but...
Just see the game opening up just a fraction in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, they're playing on as well. Not sure
And a
about that. A lot of people stopped. Tully Kennett didn't.
And he's paid a push, unbelievably. That looked like... no disrespect to the umpire. I thought that was pretty good body
You
work.
could see it from here, couldn't you, Adam?
Yeah, I think... let's just say the Sacred Heart player was pretty happy when the umpire pointed his way.
Zach Sanderson with the free kick.
And that was Prosser again. He just kicked the previous
That's
goal, so he
perfect.
had his tail up.
He did.
Nothing like 2 goals in a minute. Make you feel good.
Every forward's dream. Hilliard is upended.
But again, looking to go short, Sacred Heart and Glenunga have been switched on this quarter. They were a little bit slow in the first quarter, but their defensive skills have been right up in this second quarter.
Bit of aerial ping pong. Thought Rankin might have been taken with that. That was certainly what he was claiming. Now Glenunga won a free.
Yes, he's paid holding the ball.
They will get it. Michael Bowen. Now this gentleman, last year, played at Dimboola.
Where?
Then Dimboola, which is on the way to Melbourne. Used to be the train stop there, the Overland, just between Bordertown and Horsham.
Wow.
He also went and played in Northern Territory at Southern Districts. And I've
That's
got to
the
bring this one out. Nai West United.
So is that how Glenunga found him with all his mates?
Could be. Oh, yeah, maybe. Found him at Southern District and said, hey, you doing anything during the winter? Come down to Glenunga.
We're a pretty good club. Come down and have a kick with us.
It's just his 4th game, but gee, he'd have a jumper collection. And Naya West United is a merger of Naya and Naya West. It's not a town called Naya. Just
Good bit of trivia there. Naya West.
Naya West. Because they couldn't merge and call themselves Naya West, could they? Because that
would have
wouldn't
been
be a
boring.
merger.
That would have been boring. They would
Yeah.
have voted no for that merger.
Yeah. And they had to throw in United just to show that everyone was happy with it.
Not sure anyone's happy when clubs have to merge. Sad part of country football, but it
It
does
is.
happen. It's better to have a
Well-
merged club than no club at all, Phil.
If it means that you get to keep plumbing, one of the problems with mergers is that people that used to do a job then don't have a job. But if the people aren't there in the first place, there's not as much of that. It's just
can you keep some form of identity? But it is, yeah, I've lived through a few of those. I've had one of my favourite sporting clubs merge and one of my favourite sporting clubs fold. And I can tell you a merger is much better.
Agree. Bit of a wrestle on the ground here. It's been a bit of a stalemate, hasn't it, Phil, as we talk about mergers. There hasn't been much happening on the field with the ball just parked down in that pocket for the last 5 minutes. No team able to clear it.
It's interesting. Glenunga are winning this quarter, kicking into the breeze, which we thought would be impactful, but they, that's just been where the ball's placed all quarter, hence various
with the
tangent discussions, because it's a long way away.
With the commentary box located this side and the breeze coming this way, you might have been a bit more comfortable, Phil, with a bit more play this end.
Yeah,
but
possibly.
overall, it's been 27 inside 50s to 13 this end already, if you combine the two teams. So it's an amazing stat, that.
Yes. All right.
Umpires picked out a free, thankfully, to try and get the game moving again. There's a lot of repeat ball ups there.
There was. And good to see the umpire waited until there was actually a free, rather than, I'm not saying making it up, but taking a liberal interpretation so they could stop the ball ups.
And again, surprisingly, Sacred Heart from that position goes short and sideways, just allowing Glenunga time to set up this wall.
Yeah. Huge pack of players, but they got a chance. It could spill into open space. It does. The ball has just kicked sideways, and suddenly everybody's chasing this footy. Great one-on-one battle here. That was really good pressure by Fletcher Wiseman, putting the pressure on Chester Forster in the end. Well, officially it's a neutral draw because it's a throw-in, but I reckon Glenunga won that because if Forster picked it up, they were away.
They were away. They had the open field ahead. Great defensive play again by Glenunga.
And that's half-time, a 26.5-minute quarter, won by the Glenunga Rams. We've got a slight scoreboard discrepancy that we'll sort out, but no doubt about it, it is at least a goal, maybe 10, maybe 9, maybe 11 points. We'll work it out. Glenunga 4-7-31, Sacred Heart Old Collegians 3-3-21. Time for a half-time break. When we come back, we'll have some scores from around most of the Div 1 grounds, update from the women's finals. We've got our first premier in 2023 in the Adelaide Footy League. We'll tell you about that, and we'll get Adam Jeffrey's thoughts about where this game is being won and lost as coach Nathan Grimer strikes a lonely, contemplative figure at the moment. Looks
bored almost, doesn't he?
Well,
not a lot of highlights so far.
Yeah, well, and our producer Hugo will find some highlights with luck. We'll be back after the break.
Nine News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on, or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
9 News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
News, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on or a message from the club, whether it be, like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable, so basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
up with the Adelaide Footy League. Tom Wren on the ground at your club for Thursday Night Live, strengthening communities through footy.
Well, folks, we're down here at the Banner Crew. Our friend, supporter and sponsor of Between the Posts has joined us. Welcome, Jason Goods.
Thanks, Tony. Nice to be with you.
What can the people out there expect to buy from the Banner Crew and get looked after?
Pretty much anything that you can put your club logo on, or a message from the club, whether it be like you mentioned, a marquee or a flag or an A-frame or a banner, a stubby holder, a pen, anything like that, anything that you can pop the club branding on. Everything's customisable. So basically we've got an in-house design department with 2 graphic designers that can work toward getting the message across that you're after.
We're down here at 318 to 326 St Vincent Street, Port Adelaide. Jason, thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back. The Senior School Oval here at Sacred Heart College, where it's got a tad chilly. We're in the shade, cool breeze coming in. Half-time here, and it is the Glenunga Rams leading Sacred Heart by 10 points. A busy round 18 of the Adelaide Footy League Division 1 season. But Adam, just before I get your thoughts on the game here, let's congratulate the first 2 premiers in the Adelaide Footy League for season 2023. They are the Villiers Bakery Division 6 in the women's, won by Golden Grove 4-7-31, beating Athelston 4-4-28. And in the Near-Mouth Guards Division 4, it was Hectorville pretty easily, 7-4-46, beating Eastern Park 2-3-15. There is another final that's just started. That's Division 2 between Golden Grove and Goodwood Saints. We'll give you some scores around the other grounds shortly, but your summary of the first half, Adam Jeffries.
Yeah, quick summary, because it's interesting what's happening at the other grounds today as well, being the last minor round. I'm seeing contrasting game styles, and I'm seeing the team kicking into the breeze, dominating in both quarters, Bill, which has been interesting and difficult for your call as well with our commentary position today. Look for Glenunga, though, who ramped up the defensive pressure to get long and get a couple of goals ahead at 3/4 time. Sacred Heart just need to start using the long ball a little bit more for mine.
So we've got a game that could be anyone's. You can see the scoreboard there, and we were correct, by the way. That's 2-0 to us as opposed to the home ground scoreboard operators. You guys in fine form, prepping for the finals. Port District, they're prepping for the finals. We'll be at Largs Reserve next week. They lead St Peter's by 7 points. So Spock, trailing by 12 at quarter time, got it back to 7 at the half. So that's where the relegation discussions start, if St Peter's get up. Prince Alfred and Tea Tree Gully tied at quarter time. It's Prince Alfred by 9. So again, it's still up for grabs. Brighton and Goodwood, your great work, Adam, to find a score. Broadview need to win to play finals. Goodwood to survive. Goodwood by 2 goals, 5-6 to 3-6 at half time. Brighton need to win to ensure that they survive. They're leading Old Ignatians by 16 points. So at the moment, if all of those margins and computations stand, nothing changes.
Yeah,
the ladder as it was this morning will be tonight.
Yeah, I think St Peter's, the longer that goes and they're close, they're going to have so much motivation, aren't they? But Goodwood up at half time as well is interesting. Broadview was so much to play for, but a long way to go. And it's windy around Adelaide today. Maybe big third quarters coming up in all 5 games, I'd suggest. Yeah,
it'll be interesting if Port District rests some good players in the final quarter if it's close. But let's keep an eye on this game first, because maybe Glenunga might do the same, albeit they'll have a 2-week break before their second semi-final affair. Regardless of this result, second semi-final, pretty sure it's going to be at Webb Oval.
The coaches are aware of the grounds around the ground scores. Sacred Heart have a lot to play for here too. If, like I said, Tea Tree Gully are close, Prince, anything can happen. They want second spot if you can grab it.
Not sure where that game would be, but it would be Sacred Hearts to sort out, which is what they would want. And mostly it wouldn't be up to Prince Alfred to sort out. Wouldn't it be interesting if they chose the same neutral venue and it didn't matter in the slightest?
Didn't matter. Well, anytime, anywhere.
That's it, we'll play you. So we've got a clearance that's gone the way of Sacred Heart and repelled by Glenunga, and we're back on true centre wing. Boundary umpire just presses that footy, tucks it in. Sacred Heart goes woof, and it's back in play.
Great throw for a local field boundary umpire there.
Yeah, because that's into the breeze.
Yeah.
That's
good strength.
That's not easy. Sacred Heart, 10 yards in a cloud of dust, pretty much. Another stoppage.
No real change, no structural changes here for either team. I know Bilby played most of the first half on ball, is now in the forward line for Glenunga, anticipating.
Yep. And with the ball on centre, Lovelock was away. But free kick to Glenunga to Davis.
He's been very good today, Davis, hasn't he? I think he's kicked 2 goals himself, a lot of clearances, possession around the ground.
Yep.
Risky ball into the middle.
Yeah, it goes to the middle. Some would say a little early. Oh, jeez, don't argue. Got to get that player's number. I think that's Wiseman with a kick around the body. Wonky 1-on-1 behind, and that was very well done by the Sacred Heart defender in Zach Sanderson, who's had Wonky all day.
It's been a good matchup. I told you it would be a good matchup. I think Mike's probably had Zach hasn't had a goal kicked on him, which is interesting, but Mike's taken 4 or 5 contested marks in this game. Interesting there, I said, Phil, that they came into the corridor early. It's because of McMahon's matchup. They back him in the air against his opponent every week.
Yeah. So we actually have a stoppage into that was a little crude. Umpire didn't see it, and that's the problem when you got to understand that there might be a free there, but if the umpire doesn't see it and when there's 20 players around the ball, chances are they don't.
Boisterous local crowd as well.
Yep. Well, crowd will help, but if the umpires don't see it, they're not going to call it.
Which is the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
Can't let the crowd tell you. That was good umpiring by Mr. Simons there.
I mean, you think of other sports and they have different umpires in different positions able to call things. Doesn't work so well in Aussie rules, I reckon, but just a personal thought.
Got to be so careful with your tackling this area of the ground. Glenunga will look to get in low.
Beautiful kick, snap. Grab and snap, I should say.
Nick Wonky, he's very good at that, Phil. Tom Hawkins made it famous, didn't he, by grabbing the ball out of the ruck in the forward pocket.
Who's the guy at the ruckman at Goodwood over many years?
Tom Carter.
Tom Carter.
Used to love grabbing
was an
it out
art
the ruck.
form.
And Nick Wonky, he doesn't want to win the tap. He's trying to outmaneuver his opponent and get a shot on goal. Just missed on the snap there.
So,
turnover.
Are they going to move it quickly? Trying to. And there's Nick Wonky. Now, will he have a crack from here? Because he should have the breeze right at his back. And this is where Abe Davis, sort of in the vicinity where Abe Davis nailed one.
In the first quarter, Glenunga players struggled from this pocket. Kicked a couple out on the full. So he's put the grass up like Matthew Lloyd. Got to aim left post and give it a chance.
Yeah. Or even top of the goal square and let the breeze carry it through. Just sort of what he's done. Let's see it come back. Pretty close. Michael Wonky has the pure strength and goal-kicking sense of Michael Wonky has come to the fore. And that's a very big opening goal of the half. Watch this. A man who just knows where the goals is and will not be denied.
There's your play of the day so far. Michael knew the Sacred Heart player was going to spoil it right there, and he just stood next to the goalpost and grabbed it, and with his strength got around. We're on that line, Phil. I didn't think it went over. I thought that was the right decision by the goal umpire. So that's your play of the day so far. Yep. Michael Wonky, well done.
Biggest lead of the contest. It's broken out of that 2-goal.
His teammates on the bench enjoyed that one too, I think.
Yeah. You might be having a chat to Michael post-game. That one's going to be a little hard to beat. And now Abe Davis, they moved him into the middle. I think this is Glenunga's moment to push the go button with the breeze. They know they probably will have to turn for home in front.
Much needed. It looked like it was going to go deep inside 50 again. Not sure who that player is. That's McDermott. That's a great chase down tackle.
Got the free.
Much needed. Because it doesn't seem like a lot, does it, Phil? But if they kick the next goal, Glenunga, it's quite a deficit, isn't it?
In a low-scoring contest, I mean, Shock almost have to double their score at the moment to get back into the contest. And the buddy bet's looking fascinating at the moment, sitting at 59 points. It's bang on target for 100. Could be a goal either way in it. That's a high kick. Watch the breeze take that away. No one can take the mark. Charlie Hilliard, ex-Brighton Bombers and Phantoms player, tackled and gives away the free kick. Here comes Glenunga down the eastern wing. North-South Oval here at Sacred Heart Old Collegians. And Bilby tries to escape, but pretty tight tackling in the end.
Feels like a little lift in intensity, doesn't it, though, this third quarter? A bit more crowd participation.
Both coaches would have had a bit to say at half-time.
It was a little bit of cruise control potentially in that first half. There wasn't a lot of big contests, and it was a little bit of stagnant football, but the first 6 minutes of this quarter, a lot more crowd participation, some great chase down tackles, some highlights already.
Nice grab and a kick around the body. I was the umpire on that occasion, had no idea which player it was, but the kick spills out of bounds last possession. Free. Sacred Heart again. They work it methodically, but Glenunga's not giving them much of an opportunity. So McDermott really no choice but to kick it down the lines where the pack flies. Beautifully done by Lovelock, emerges from that pack. The kick down the line, the breeze will keep it in and will create a crazy bounce to be magnificently picked up by Harvey Lambert. Ball spills inside 50. I think that's Lovelock again. Cross tried to play for the free. Umpire wasn't buying on that occasion. And the kick around the body is going to be by that goal line off the side of the boot. Oh, don't tell me!
That was Lambert.
Harvey Lambert has kicked, well, the magic play of the day moment. We've got two, one for each side. We're sorted. Watch this.
Can we call that labour intensive, that build-up?
Yeah.
Good
Not
little
bad.
snap in the end, though, by Harvey Lambert.
Of course, the angle may be not as tight as it looks from the other end of the ground, but that was mightily impressive. And a much-needed goal, more importantly, for Sacred Heart Old Collegians. That's their fourth. They trail now back. They got it back within 2. An 11-point margin.
Big play. Like I said, it looked like Glenunga, they kicked the first goal. They had the ball streaming inside 50. They had the chase down tackle that really saved the goal. And Sacred Heart, big play there. Kept the scores close. Game on.
Just jotting that one down for
Glenunga get
potential
the centre clearance.
prize. And Gluyas has it. He was best last week in Sacred Heart's win at Cater Oval St. Peter's, a result that may just relegate St. Peter's based on what they do today. That's McDermott, who's been busy. A lot of players standing around looking for free kicks. Sacred Heart getting on with the contest. There's
it's a bit
free
of a collision in the middle of the ground.
Ross will have it.
Davis a bit slow to get moving.
Off hands. And
Free kick.
Alexa Fortune taken high, going down. They'll take the free. This is a chance for back-to-back goals. Very quickly play on, and Glenunga were asleep at the wheel. That's Henry McAuliffe with a goal. Another Plimpton Junior. There's 4 Plimpton Juniors in the Sacred Heart side. And suddenly we're back to within a goal again.
Yeah, big turnaround in this game. Like I said, I think that early goal for Glenunga sparked them, and they've gone a lot quicker inside 50 on the last 2 occasions. It's been chaotic, but they've managed to get on the end of it. So, yeah, it's certainly game on, as Glenunga, I thought, might have kicked the next goal and got away with it. Abe Davis copped a bit of a knock in the marking contest in the middle of the ground. He's going to go and just have a little bit of a breather at full forward. So obviously he's fine. You wouldn't take any risk with him if he was genuinely injured. I think he just needs a minute.
Just needs a breather.
And he's a pretty handy full forward as
The
well.
one thing we haven't seen so far is Sacred Heart gets the clearances. I thought Sacred Heart might have had a slight height advantage, which I've seen them use in other games. The goals really haven't come from...
They've come from chaos sort of play inside 50, haven't they?
Bit of chaos at the centre ball up. McDermott goes down. No, well, that's a great touch. See, that's the beauty of the second camera. He wouldn't have caught that otherwise. Now inside 50, player goes down.
I said big lift in intensity in this game, Phil. Sacred Heart have been sprung into action, I think. Their endeavour at the stoppages the last 5 minutes has been first class.
It's just inside the 50. There's a Sacred Heart possession to make it official. The Joel Cross, 25 metres out. And Joel Cross, man of his class, will not miss too many of those opportunities. He kicked 3 goals last week, 8 for the season. He now has his 9th.
So that's 3 goals in 4 minutes for Sacred Heart into the breeze. Mr. Cross has just woken up, hasn't he? We didn't call his name a lot in the first half. He does a lot of things you wouldn't notice sometimes, but he's had 2 or 3 clearances of his own and a 4th stoppage goal on that occasion. Glenunga will be disappointed. You've got a guy that's won 2 McGarry medals. You've got to be goal side of those players at forward 50 stoppages. Let him get out. Yeah, and he's not going to miss that, Phil. He's a class player, has been for a long time.
So what was a game-high 17-point deficit that Shock were facing is now a 1-point lead to the home side. 6-3 to 5-8. Noble got a boot onto that one. I need to see if we did have official still. The Dartfish stats will consider that because it was a soccer kick forward and a quick repel by Glenunga. They have it now. Into the half-forward flank. Shock look like they've got the numbers, and they've got that was Hilliard onto Kerish. But no open space, turnover. Schwartz with the up and under kick. Michael Wonke's a fair way from home.
Just playing a bit up the field at the moment, Mike, with Abe having a bit of a rest at full forward.
Give him a run on the ball.
He'd win the clearance if he was around there, no doubt.
Yeah.
Look for him to be a late entrant into this stoppage as well, potentially. Very good at getting a free kick going his way.
Not a cloud to be seen here in the South Australian capital, but a cooling breeze, which the players have to deal with again. Some quick play by Sacred Heart, but Zach Smith, one of numerous Glenunga players. His clearance didn't go too far, though. This is the players getting into the action. Charlie Hilliard's been busy. Cross draws the defenders. Does it spring open Simons? No. Bjorn just really played interference with that. Made sure he didn't give away a tackle. Just stopped the other player getting the ball.
Yeah, they've really sprung into action here, Sacred Heart, haven't they? Winning every clearance at the moment, tackling pressure first class. They might know the score at the other ground's close and they can nab second spot up and about at the moment.
So,
and if it was a final, Abe Davis would be around the football right now. Is it a fair comment to say, Phil?
Yep.
Glenunga can't lose top position. Game's up for grabs right now. You put your best player around the football.
Yep. That's why. And look, Glenunga could well and truly run this game out. Well, I still think Sacred Heart are in the box seat, especially as they're coming home with the breeze. Cross draws the defenders, got the hand pass out there. And again, here's the shot for goal coming from Dominic Vazari by the boundary line. Carlotta lurks. Oh, that's really done. The coach with the desperate play to keep the ball in play. Oscar Lovelock comes in for the Socceroo goal. So that's 4 in a row.
Yep.
For Sacred Heart Old Collegians. Lovelock has his 13th for the season.
Yeah, I think we've got to give Coach Collado credit there. I think he deliberately tried to keep the ball in, knowing he had teammates around him. And was it Lovelock that came in with the pretty impressive soccer goal, to be honest? Another nominee for Player of the Day, to be honest. That's amazingly as well. Sacred Heart, 5 inside 50s, 4 goals in this quarter after in the first half teams would camp down that end and couldn't score.
Yep.
So amazing little burst here from Sacred Heart.
Well, one thing's your buddy bet is looking pretty good now, Adam. 83 points in totality. Of course, gamble responsibly. We put the over-unders at 100. Well, I did. Probably always looked on paper a bit on the low side.
Joel Cross again with the free kick at the centre bounce. He's certainly inserted himself into this game.
And notice who's back in the middle. So it's not unfair to say that Sacred Heart are back because Abe Davis was rested up forward.
Oh, it had an impact, no doubt. It all came from the stoppage clearance. But at the same time, if Abe is sore, I'm put into full forward as well in a game that doesn't mean anything to Glenunga. Glenunga have earned that right.
Correct.
To do that with their play this year.
They're the one team that hasn't left it to the final week to
sort
out their business. Zach Smith man from Kyabram, and Owen spent some time in the NT as well. Seems to be a popular place for the Rams players. Throw in. Sacred Heart's half-forward flank. How are we going for an inside 50 count this quarter?
Yeah, we've got 6 Sacred Heart to 4 Glenunga. So again, the team going into the breeze, leading the inside 50 count.
Yeah. And at least 3 of those 4 for Glenunga would have been pretty early in the process.
Sacred Heart right on top in the last 10 minutes. It was about the 6-minute mark we called it, and Sacred Heart have kicked 4 goals in that time.
Yeah. 16 minutes gone. Third quarter. Sacred Heart know their opponent next week. They just don't know where they're playing. That one almost was ready to take out a Gumtree, which I can see from here is in the field of play. We saw that happen on the other side with some Moreton Bay Figs earlier.
Yeah, I didn't go and inspect those trees at quarter time. I should have, because, yeah, amazing scenes in that first quarter with a kick in the field
which
of play.
broke a branch.
And the umpire would have paid the mark if someone had grabbed it, apparently.
Okay. Well, that's the rule. That's the rule. Why do I keep thinking North Sydney Oval with that? I really don't know. Abe Davis tackled, got it away. Here's a chance for Glenunga. They needed it inside 50. Haven't had one for a little while. Bilby across to Syrah. Onto Bjorn.
That's a great snap.
He doesn't need much time or space. Tommy Bjorn's first for the afternoon, 17th for the season.
It's a great left foot snap by Thomas Bone. We haven't called him a lot today, but I've been really impressed with him the last few games. He's become one of the better small forwards in the competition with pressure, and he hits the scoreboard as well. He was the leading goal scorer on the ground last week with 3. Gets his first today, I believe, with a beautiful left foot snap. That was just instinctive. Grabbed it one step, went through. Dare I say it, Abe Davis back on the footy, gets the clearance, gets the ball going Glenunga's way. Good to see the big fella up and about, back on the football. Game on, 1 point. First versus third on the ladder, what you'd expect.
Yep. We'll get you some more scores from around the grounds at three-quarter time, and then we'll keep a bit of a more regular look at what's happening elsewhere, because there are games of consequence in round 18. In fact, every game potentially has consequence. This one to sort out possibly who will finish second. That relies on Tea Tree Gully drawing, because they were tied at quarter time, or beating Prince Alfred Old Collegians. And there's relegation and there's a fifth. So there's 3 things up for grabs, and every one of the 5 games has an impact on one of those 3 things. Glenunga looking for back-to-back. Nick Wonke's trying to sell, though I was held, can't mark it. Gets past Michael Wonke. Bjorn comes in, there's a fumble. Bjorn not letting that come out easily. And at the third attempt, it finally falls with Lovelock, who gets the kick away, only as far as Abe Davis. He'll bang the boot into this one very shortly, I suspect. No, he's taking a bit of time about it. Heads towards the pocket, Nick Wonke. And in the end, it was I think that's Simons who got a hand to it.
Good response here by Glenunga, though. 4 goals on the trot for Sacred Heart. But Glenunga, they're not top for no reason, are they? They've just had a real little lift around the stoppage themselves, getting their intercept game back in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, there's a car park. There's the smallest jumping car I've ever seen at a footy game. And there's a beautiful snap to boot.
Is that Schwartz?
It is. Bo Schwartz is on the scoreboard this afternoon.
And we've lost the football.
We've lost the ball. What's happened to the ball?
There'll be another one floating around here at Sacred Heart. They got plenty of cash to buy new footballs with, Phil.
Well, I'm not sure, because they were running out of drinks and running out of barbecue, so I'm not sure how much money they've been making today.
Putting too much mayo on it. But great response by Glenunga, Phil. Like I said, they haven't really got anything to play for here, have they? And in the last 5 minutes, they've kicked the last 2 when Sacred Heart potentially could have run away with it. 2 little left foot snaps, showing their class inside 50. Schwartz with he's a right footer, but a left foot snap on goal.
After a lot of missed chances,
going bang bang.
Glenunga's kicked the first 2. Sacred Heart kicked the next 4. Glenunga have kicked the last 2. So in theory, we should be back. Anyway, it's a 5-point Rams lead. Schwartz, quick kick, Wonke 1-on-1. He had a really good understanding of where the breeze was. Sanderson got stuck in front. Monkey was just able to lean back and take the grab.
Great response again. I'll keep saying it by Glenunga, and again I'll say it. Zach Sanderson needs to stand on the back shoulder of Michael Wunke when he's kicking to this end. And
Michael Wunke makes the goal umpire salute. He's got 2. Glenunga have got 8. And it's swung back to an 11-point lead again.
Yeah, wow. It's a good game of footy now, though, isn't it, Phil? This is probably what we thought we might see, and once the game starts to open up.
We can need another footy.
Oh, wow.
What are they doing, kicking it on the roof or something?
Do you reckon they got the first one back?
Not
Beautiful
that
new Sharon. They're $150 a new Sharon, aren't they?
Not that quickly. So there must be an issue there because they have netting behind the goal, but it's pretty narrow. The
it's not
gap
stopping a
between the
lot,
netting
is
and the
it?
goal. You kick them post high, they're going to go above the netting. So they need higher netting or a lower roof. I think I know which will be easier to implement. Or someone on the roof to retrieve, maybe. But I'm going to look at them in a lot of centre clearances today. They're trying to make a third one in a row here. Kerrish did get a kick away and finds his teammate in Moore.
5-2 Glenunga centre clearances this quarter after Sacred Heart dominated that in the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, it does show that if you're a decent football team, at some point you're going to have your moment in a game where you do have momentum and clearances and goal-scoring opportunities, and then often it comes down to do you make the most of them. And both teams have in this quarter.
And 4 goals
And
each
by
this
the way,
quarter.
congratulations.
Oh, we're above 100 points, 101 points.
Yeah.
It was a risky bet, Phil, I'm not going to lie,
Yeah.
with the sun out today.
What should I have gone? 130 maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Combined score. 75 points usually wins a Division 1 game. Both these teams are obviously capable of that. I think when they played each other in round 9,
It was 99.
Yeah, that's right. It was a very low-scoring game in the mud at Glenunga.
Yeah. No mud here. Plenty of room to get the ball and go. And that's what Glenunga are doing this time. Sanderson playing in front.
Gets the rewards
Works
on
it.
that occasion for playing in front.
Yeah. What's up?
Against his old
Chester?
coach's wishes.
Foster, sorry. Chester Foster. Worcester. And yeah, on these conditions, a mark that should have been taken. Davis has got it. Can Glenunga make Sacred Heart pay? It's inside forward 50. Looking for the... and that's got out of bounds, and that's got to be a last possession. Yeah. I was about to say, olden days, not a terrible result. You get a throw in, but not anymore.
Do you like the rule, Phil?
I love it.
Yep.
I love
It's
it.
here to stay, isn't it?
Took me about 6 months to get used to it, calling when the Sandful introduced it. Then I did a game with Triple M. We were doing a rare Sandful game, and they just couldn't get it. They kept on thinking it was last touch, last disposal, but it's just so simple. As Michael Wunke taken over the shoulder.
Crowd don't like it here on the hill, but it wasn't one he had to bend over to get the ball, Phil.
Yeah.
So I think it was the right decision by the
Doesn't matter
umpire.
whether
I think it was the
he's
right
standing
decision.
or lying down, you don't take
Yeah.
him over the shoulder.
So you've almost got to, as the tackling player in that instance, you've almost got to let him take possession of the ball and then get in low rather than really come hunting in hard at the head when it looked like Wunke was going to get to the ball first.
This for
Looking for his third of the quarter.
Yeah. He has third for the quarter. He has the Glenunga player of the day, and he might be edging himself for something else if he keeps this act up.
Well, he's played. I thought he played well in the first half. The veteran Michael Wunke didn't hit the score sheet and had 2 shots for goal in the first quarter that missed uncharacteristically. But
Interesting. I'm not sure if we can get the replay again.
of that
A
high
little
tackle,
request of you guys. Just look at the man on the mark when Wunke kicks this. If that's possible. I may be asking too much. But look at the care factor from the man on the mark.
still discussing the decision with the umpire.
Yeah. As a coach, I would say that would annoy you.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. You put your fingers up, make him kick it up high.
Yeah. But just, you do the little things, intensely. And he'd basically given up on that goal when it wasn't yet conceded.
No, not on a windy day. Another centre clearance to Glenunga as they get the ball to half forward again.
One thing I'm noticing, the crowd's getting into it.
Yeah, they are. I think it'd be interesting to get the score at three-quarter time at Prince Alfred, but the Sacred Hearts, they have plenty to play for. You know, they'd be very dangerous here in a final rather than having to travel.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think. Is it Intercol Day today?
I know that.
Or was it last week?
Nah, it's today. I know Prince Alfred are playing St. Peter's in the big Intercol game today.
But Sacred Heart get Ross Trevor.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming the fact that we're here must be at Ross Trevor.
Yes.
So Oval here next week would be available if it was needed.
I think they'd like to play here if they could, wouldn't they, Sacred Hearts? The facilities, the ground, the intimacy of the
I'm just thinking if
crowd.
there's any school footy that would take priority.
No, they should be done. Today's their grand final day, isn't it?
Yeah. All right.
More pressure.
Well, it is interesting because they now have a grand final.
No,
but then they have the Intercol, which is...
Intercol is grand final day, isn't it?
It is.
The crowd, that the whole school goes to the game.
That's right.
It's amazing to see as Glenunga go inside 50 again.
Thump from behind. It's been Glenunga's 15 minutes. Yeah, not a great place to stop and have a conversation.
Just giving Mum a cuddle right in front of the
commentary
box.
Yeah, don't exactly have the hugest height here. Glenunga have it from the stoppage. That's a long kick.
That's gone through. And the barrel from 50 from the stoppage.
Who's
Not sure who that was.
Okay.
We have to catch who that was, Phil, but Glenunga
Well,
just...
I've got two nominations. I'm going to have to go back and have a look. Parsons.
Just Parsons.
Yep.
That's probably... that's a nomination. We'll have to flip a coin if Glenunga
Parsons, long distance snap versus one kick taking on a goalpost.
I did like Mike's goal. I thought that was entertaining. But for mine, this has come out of nowhere, Phil. That's
Michael
five.
might be getting the Mosley Award.
Yeah, true.
What
3 goals in the quarter. That's 5 goals on the trot for Glenunga, just out of nowhere with nothing to play for. Abe Davis back on the footy. Bang, bang, bang.
23 points.
And another centre clearance.
Wow, since Abe Davis went back into the middle, it's been nothing but Glenunga. And it hasn't even been an inside 50 for Sacred Heart. They're trying, but a little bit of fumbleitis at times.
And that was Nick Quunke again grabbing the ball out of the ruck. So opposition ruckmen have to know that, don't they? Wherever he is, he wants to grab the ball. He's not looking to tap it.
Three-quarter time is imminent. 27 and a half minutes gone. I'm trying to think of how many goals we've had. It's been a 10-goal quarter at least.
Yep, 6 goals to 4, I believe.
That's 10 last time I checked, I hope.
Yes.
Out of bounds on the full. In front of a certain group of they're Glenunga fans, and they're not happy.
Stepped over the mark.
Oh, they're very happy because he's got 25.
Little Glenunga contingent. I think Tommy Javor's boys, the Glenunga B grade, they get together, which is great camaraderie. They get together and watch the game on the far side every week, wherever they are, and they get into
in their own little group. And I think it's a great idea. The sly pass in the path of Davis. Davis is tackled. Where's the tackle?
Thought he got a handball there, but he did do the 360, so right decision.
Yeah.
Had the last...
I mean, AFL, that would definitely have been holding the ball. Here, they're a bit more lenient.
Agree. Glenunga have had the last 8 inside 50s by my count.
Yeah,
Phil as well, just
I'm
dominating.
not disagreeing with you. It's just a case of can they snag one more before this siren goes. I mean, in theory, Sacred Heart aren't done yet. They've shown the ability to dominate
And they'll have the
patches,
breeze.
kick goals, and they have the breeze.
In the last quarter, so still game on, but it's a handy buffer now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, goal umpire helps the field umpires out by indicating that he saw that the ball was touched, so it won't be a last possession kick. It'll be a throw in.
They can't concede one here, though, Sacred Heart.
29 minutes. Well, they've got one extra player on the goal line to try not and concede something. There's a high kick, a snap, and a miss.
They'll be disappointed there, Sacred Heart, conceding. I know he missed, but conceding a shot from goal from a forward stoppage.
33 points. No, it's 24 points.
24 points, 4-goal margin.
And all of a sudden, the Glenunga's inaccuracy that looked pretty bad early on. Now 10 goals, 9 looks pretty reasonable. 7 goals, 3 even better, but
Certainly been an entertaining quarter, though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think this game's over as well. I think Sacred Heart will come out with a burst in the last.
Again, a lot of players around the ball. Maybe 26 of the 36 at the moment. Certainly more than 20. And hence any inside handballs really are not going to work. I could not tell you what that was for.
I think he paid a throw / holding the ball.
I probably should have taken
one
the
in
camera
tight.
shot rather than try and look at it live, because all I could see was the mixture of the jumpers and a couple of players on the ground, and I got no idea who did what to whom. Into the pocket, Joel Cross with a bit of courage. Nick Wonke was charging through.
Yeah, good courage by Joel there. Not the place you want to be with Nick Wonke steaming out, but he put his body on the line, saved a potential goal for his team as we tick over to nearly 31 minutes played, so there can't be long to go. Sacred Heart need to lock on goal side here.
Longest quarter of the game by far, but then we've had 10 of the 17 goals kicked in it, so...
Been super impressive this from Glenunga, to be honest. Nothing to play for,
Yeah.
Phil, and they've just gone bang with 5 consecutive
You could
goals.
understand once Sacred Heart got the roll on if you did put the cue on the rack, but
A little
instead
firing.
they kicked 4 unanswered goals and now have 5 unanswered goals and now have a 24-point lead to take into the last break. It is the Glenunga Rams, the minor premiers, 10-9, 69, Sacred Heart 7-3, 45. 24 points the margin. You're with Adam Jeffries, Phil Hurd, and we've got Hugo on the producers, we've got producing, we've got James and Liam on the camera, and we'll be back with scores around the grounds and all the final quarter action. Thanks to Filming Footy, this is the Adelaide Footy League.
And Crone takes the lead in the Coolmore. Crone draws clean out from Mizzy. It's a Queensland victory. And a big payday for his owners, winning the English Millennium in a romp.
But Ayrton the clasp, and Ayrton won the Victoria Handicap.
But Mahuda goes all the way. Where again, Mahuda?
Taliqua, too classy for them. The Blue Star flashing, beats the ball. A Blue Star gets up the win.
But it's all Globe, 100 metres to go. It's 6 lengths in front. This is an outstanding performance again. And Globe eased down, won the King's Coronation Cup in a canter.
There's the Sacred Heart huddle with a bit of work to do if they want to get back and win this game. Of course, they know their opponent. They've got the double chance. Depending on other results, this result may not have great consequence. Adam, your thoughts on some of the better players thus far as I search around the Adelaide Footy League for some scores?
Yeah, quick summary of this game so far. Very entertaining quarter of football. I will start by saying that. Sacred Heart went bang and kicked 4 goals into the breeze in 5 minutes. And we thought Glenunga were just maybe going to put the cue in the rack. Abe Davis had copped a knock and was sitting at full forward. And then all of a sudden, Glenunga sprung to life and they had 9 consecutive inside 50s, kicked 5 goals in that time. Michael Wonke kicked 3 goals in that quarter. Abe Davis from Iron is best on ground thus far. And yeah, they just took it up a notch, Glenunga, like I said, with nothing to play for. So super impressive by them. But this game's not over. There is a breeze coming to the to this end of the ground where we're calling from. Sacred Heart have that breeze at their back this quarter. They need to put away the short kick, get the coach Carlotto to full forward in this quarter and just go long to that dangerous spot. For mine, they haven't quite done that enough. Their game style has worked for them all season. But if you look at it, you know, Glenunga have had 36 inside 50s to 25 because they don't muck around with the football. So it'll be interesting to see whether Sacred Heart can make a run here. But 4 goals, top teams don't normally give up those margins, Phil.
That's pretty impressive.
What's happening around
the grounds? If you can maybe source your source, just having a look at the Port District game at the moment, and St Peter's. The reason I'm really intrigued by this one is that we have a new leader, and that is St Peter's Old Collegians. And if that holds, that really, really, really makes things interesting.
And just on that, Goodwood Saints are up by 4 points at three-quarter time. So what an intriguing one, Phil. If this margin blows out, we might almost want to look at what's happening at the other grounds. Goodwood Saints up by 4 points at three-quarter time.
And St. Peter's are up by 6. The problem for Spock right now is, okay, that would give them officially win number 6. But if Goodwood win, as they're in front, and Brighton are in front of Old Iggy's by 28, the bottom 3 have all won on the final round, and the 7th, 8th and 9th team have all run on the final round. So relegation would not change.
I don't want to harp on it, Phil, but Joe's St. Peter's want that 2 points back from earlier this season that they lost.
It'd be an
amazing.
absolute shame if that was. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that.
The rule's right,
wrong,
but
as someone who's been an administrator, you feel, oh my goodness. The one that I'm just struggling to get up at the moment, and I have now, is what's happening between Prince Alfred and Tea Tree Gully. The good news is we are a bit behind the other games, which means we should have the ability. Okay. Prince Alfred are ahead of Tea Tree Gully by 41 points.
So
12 minutes into the final quarter.
So regardless of the result here, it's going to stay Sacred Heart third, isn't it? So their motivation, if they know that, Phil.
So that Goodwood Broadview game,
that's the one,
is huge because.
Have we got a live stream, Phil?
No, we don't.
Oh, no.
It's the one we don't.
Because that's going to go down to the wire. You can just see it. And if St. Peter's get up, great last round. This is, I keep saying it, promotion relegation is amazing because it creates amazing games of football late in the season. You can imagine if there was no relegation, Phil, these games would mean nothing.
Well, correct. So Broadview, I mentioned before, for Broadview to play finals, I have it that there's got to be about a 12-goal difference they make up in percentage. They have to beat Goodwood Saints, Tea Tree Gully have to lose, and the difference has to be about 72 points. Around that mark, get out your calculators. 41 points Prince Alfred lead Tea Tree Gully by at the moment. If Tea Tree Gully not just have to play to win, they have to play. If they're going to lose, keep that margin as tight as possible because percentage might just decide it.
Plenty of motivation all around the competition, but here, can Sacred Heart make a comeback?
Well, they've got the breeze, and the breeze has not weakened.
No, I'm getting cold here, Phil.
I mean, Glenunga try and get the clearance. They have had 2 cracks at it. The third one works. But Sacred Heart are there to meet it. And then there's a sandwich. And that's holding the ball.
Great
McMahon
tackle
will
by
say,
McMahon.
well, that was half of that tackle, I'll take it. He wheels around. I reckon an opening goal to Glenunga wouldn't seal it, but geez, it would make it really tough for the hosts. But instead the ball spills free. It's out of bounds by the cricket nets in the southwest pocket. And
Kennett, I think, will take the ball.
So that was a disposal of Sacred Heart. Okay, so it's Glenunga kicking to that end. You can see the Glenunga water staff there. Gee, they get younger every year.
Got a great club culture, Glenunga. Actually, their seniors interact really well with their juniors.
Yeah. Well, great way to experience senior footy if you can. Off the back, and that's just Sacred Heart conceding. At the moment, they'll take that.
Dare we say a handy point,
Phil,
early
thinking
in the quarter?
exact same thing, 24 to 20, 24 points to 25. It's a bit early for that.
It'd be good to see how Sacred Heart approach this. They may know the score at the other ground and they've got nothing to gain here, but you've got plenty to gain by winning a game of football, coming back, planting a seed of doubt in your opponent's mind. Plenty of things they can work on.
Is someone going to put the cue in the rack?
I think if Glenunga kick the first goal, we may see that, but if Sacred Heart get it, I still think it's game on.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like Glenunga have gone really hard to try and build this lead. Certainly looked like that at the start of the third quarter.
They're so good defensively, Glenunga. It's hard to see them having 6 goals kicked. They only need to kick 1 goal this quarter, and Sacred Heart will need to kick 6. So it's hard to see that happening against a defensive side like Glenunga.
Yeah. Or 5 goals and a few points, maybe. But I'd take your point. Bennett's kick sends Glenunga forward. Oh, they're fighting for it. Mitchell says it's mine, and umpire says no, there was one of your teammates who touched it. Of course, can't be possession out of bounds. If it was touched, it will be a throw-in. Let's see how this umpire works it. Big breath. Into the breeze it goes. That had a bit of a lower trajectory. Reached the target though. Kennett's kick. Sort of around the 50-metre arc at the moment. Just dobs in. Umpire's found a free. Just by the way everybody's moving, it's going to go to Sacred Heart. Brandon Smith. Has it? Gee, this is not the place you want to be fumbling, but thankfully Moore got it back to Smith, who got it back to Hilliard. They've moved it from one side of the ground to the other, but still deep in Glenunga territory.
Glenunga are so good at this. They can cover down the line and they can cover the switch, which is what they did so well. And again, they get the intercept mark.
Zach Smith played every game last year, played 16 games this year of the possible 17, so regular contributor. Brinkworth's hand pass has ended up at Glenunga free. I'm not sure it was because of the hand pass, probably not. I think this is Bo Schwartz. It is.
All over him to start, only 3 minutes in, but Sacred Heart have not gone past halfway as yet.
I don't know what Glenunga's inside 50 count is, but I know Sacred Heart's is 0 this quarter.
And the player on his own, unbelievably. So maybe you spoke, Phil, about the cue being in the rack. Potentially that's a sign there with a slow entry and a small player being able to stand 20 metres out from goal on his own. So not a moment Sacred Heart would like to see back on the replay.
Lincoln Bennett. We've had 7 individual goal scorers for Glenunga, looking to be the 8th. Initially debuted, I think, for Glenunga 2014, originally from Mount Lofty. Gee, look at the ball sail away there. Has he missed that? He's missed that.
Missed a lot, has he?
Wow.
It's only 25 out almost.
Wow.
25, 30 metres out.
Yep, it's a point.
That just shows the havoc that a windy day can do with the ball drop. It's that 1 foot down from hand to foot. Things can go wrong, and it certainly did on that occasion.
The kick in also plays. I can tell you that Port District at the 12.5-minute mark leads St. Peter's Old Collegians by 4 points.
Might have to try and get a score from Broadview again.
You're going to, whatever friendship you've got with your source, you're going to stretch it a bit.
Yeah.
Well, he probably appreciate, you give him Port District St. Peter update.
I've been looking after him.
A bit of a trade.
I'm sure the Goodwood Saints people are keeping track of what's happening at Largs.
Sure they are.
Bilby
Ames
goes long.
left. Swings back. Did it have the distance? No, it was touched. Another behind. 10 goals, 12, 72. 7 goals, 3, 45. Which 22 scoring shots to 10. Glenunga leading by 3 goals, 9 at the moment, which equates to 27 points. And Sacred Heart just can't get it out of the defensive 50. McMahon's marked. And they've just been very methodical here, Glenunga. They're not letting Sacred Heart get too much hands on the ball, which means they can't move it.
Sorry to say, Phil, but the sting has gone out of this match, I think, from Sacred Heart. Perhaps knowing the score at the other ground, perhaps Glenunga just playing too well. And 27 points in Division 1 football is not easy to make up as Nick Wonke lines up. Tricky shot for goal into the breeze.
Yet to kick a goal today. That remains the case. So this reminds me a little bit of a boxing match where the winning boxer is landing punches but can't land one hard enough to knock out the opponent. It's been all Glenunga has said no inside 50s for Sacred Heart this quarter. The margin is out to 28. You think if it gets over 30, we'll start looking more intensely at other games. But Sacred Heart have it. First time they've broken loose.
It's a good mark.
Here's Moore. And that's great defence by Tom Michaelani.
That's a great mark.
Who beat Jackson Fox to the ball. High kick, another one-on-one contest. On this occasion, Darcy Mitchell gets a little bit of help from a teammate, escorts it over.
Michaelani made that intercept look easy, Phil, but when you're running back to goal at full tilt and have to change directions, that was a really good mark.
See, when you're a forward, that's easy because all you're focused on is getting the ball.
He's worried about man and ball.
That's right. When you're a defender, you've got to have two eyes in two different places. And usually, the thing you don't look at is the thing that causes you problems.
Yeah, he's been impressive. Part of a pretty good back six, isn't he? Not, the Smith brothers back there. Sam Wonke not playing today as well, who's for mine's probably the best spoiler in the competition. The Inspector Gadget arms down at fullback.
I know this will be discussed more in between the posts during the week. But Glenunga, they win here. They have not lost since round 9. They've beaten everybody. They've played the top 3 teams in succession. And at the moment, look like they're going to win and win well.
Yeah, and don't forget their captain, Harron, not playing today as well, who's a prime mover for them around the ball. So they'll only get stronger in that first final in 2 weeks, won't they? I dare say they'll maybe go light Tuesday, Thursday. They'll have a match simulation next Saturday.
Well, they also have the Bs and Cs in the final. So
match sim and then out to watch the B grade final, I would have thought would be the plan. As we get a snap on goal that goes through.
Yep, much needed one.
That was Lambert again, I believe.
He's kicked a couple of nice goals today, Lambert. And he had only kicked 1 goal previously, which was last week.
Trying to get his team fired up.
His third A-grade game, and he's kicked 3 goals, so there you go.
Long way to go in this game as well. You could see Lambert trying to get his team fired up. Great crowd. I've said it a few times. How good's that crowd up on the hill watching today in front of the beautiful scoreboard?
Which matches ours. Maybe they're just taking our stream and going with it.
That's true. Update from Broadview Oval is Broadview are now up by 4 points.
All right, that puts Goodwood in danger if Sacred Heart, and at the moment, if St. Peter's, and right now St. Peter's lead by 2 points. If the siren went in both games at the moment, St. Peter's survive and Goodwood Saints relegated. It's 17 minutes gone at Largs. So bear that in mind. Port District, I thought they were going to run into an open goal, but it's their defence clearing. I'm going to keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, obviously people are tuning in at home wanting to know what's happening here, but we can't hide away the relegation battle.
They can see what's happening here, and we'll talk to the highlights.
This is 1v3, but 2 proud clubs, St. Peter's and Goodwood Saints, both don't want to go down, Phil. I can assure you of that.
I think that maybe St. Peter's have just gone, because I did look down at the wrong moment. As Michael Wonke
misses.
Hope that doesn't cost him a prize at the end of the day.
Well,
and St. Peter's Old Collegians have scored. They have an 8-point lead at the 18-minute mark.
Wow.
So, as mentioned, Brighton also in danger, but they had a 41-point lead, 28-point lead. Dare I look away from Largs for a second? I'll go to Brighton.
Keep an eye on Largs, and I'll keep an eye at Broadview.
Okay, deal.
As Sacred Heart.
I'll let the viewers keep an eye on here.
Here at the game here, let's not forget. But this is, like I said, the relegation battle is huge. We can't undersell what it means for teams to stay in Division 1.
And St. Peter's and Goodwood, they're in semi-finals not that long ago.
Oh, Goodwood is at 33 years they've been in Division 1. St. Peter's have been up since 2012.
Longest
I
current
believe.
streak.
Yeah.
Brighton are up by 35.
Sorry, Phil, to interrupt you there. Young Lambert has just taken a hanger with a late call for player of the day. Got the crowd going as they go long inside 50 to the coach, Colotto. He nearly takes a one-hander. But Glenunga get back in numbers and clear the ball again.
Well, 3 goals, 11 minutes. It's doable, and we've seen teams kick 3 goals in 11 minutes.
We've got a replay of the hanger here. Great work by our production team.
Yeah, give this one to Hugo.
That's a good mark.
That's
a great mark by Lambert.
Put that on the promos.
He's had.
That's a good one for them.
He's had 3 moments today, Lambert, hasn't he? He's kicked 2 great goals, and now a hanger. Good on him.
If only Sacred Heart could win, he'd have the magic moment.
Oh.
We could just. Which one would you like?
Those vouchers, you want them, don't you?
You do. All right. So back here, 17 points the margin. It's still 8 points the difference at Largs in favour of St. Peter's Old Collegians. Of course, don't forget it was last year that Port District had Old Ignatians in the final round.
Yeah, and that went down to the wire.
And that relegated Rocks, and we all went,
I was at the Ross Trevor game when they found out last year they lost the Goodwood Saints in the last game, and they were absolutely devastated because they could not believe what had happened at the other ground.
Yeah.
And more of the same in this. If Goodwood don't get up, and St. Peter's do, there'll just be a fair bit of devastation. But still a few minutes to go. We'll see if we can get another update from Broadview.
Meanwhile here, we've had a couple of stoppages. So they're the 3 games we've got on. This is Hilliard who comes forward with the kick. Colotto takes on 2 Glenunga defenders, forces the contest for the crumb of Lovelock. And don't ride off Sacred Heart just yet. They've kicked the last 2. It was a 25-point margin. It's now 13.
We're running a bit early. It's only 12 minutes in, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah.
So still lots of time. Glenunga won't want to just put the cue in the rack just yet.
It was just the sheer fact that Sacred Heart weren't even getting it out of their half-back area.
And then all of a sudden gone bang, bang. Glenunga really only need 1 more goal to seal this game. But I've had a few pings at it. Abe Davis is at full forward, not on the ball, so maybe the cue's in the rack a little bit, or he's having just his regular breather. It'll be interesting to see if the big fella comes back on the ball here. Update from Broadview is 2 points up. Broadview are 2 points up.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is pretty epic stuff,
So
isn't it?
it is at the moment. Goodwood Saints relegated. Of course, those 2 played. We did the game at Goodwood Oval and St. Peter's won. And
St. Peter's have beaten Goodwood on both occasions this year as well.
Correct.
So, and as we've said, St. Peter's have lost 2 points for a clerical error. So as sad as it would be for Goodwood,
21.5 minutes gone at Largs, and it is Spock by 8 points with a lot of scrimmage around the ball just at the edge of the centre square.
Joel Crosscott won in the mush there late in the game, not what he wants.
Carry a lip into his work during the week. Of course, Glenunga get 2 weeks. The A's do. The B's and C's will be playing finals, which is probably the way you want it. You know, if you've got players that you just need to run,
Yeah.
get them in the B's if you can, as long as it abides by league rules, of course. But if nothing else, just to have everybody out there on the track and the feeling that they could, train hard and maybe get that.
There's always one
position.
injury and one unlucky story in a premiership team
There
as well,
is.
isn't there, Phil? So you've got to keep training and keep at it.
And I do like the fact that, did they have 22 for the grand final?
Yes, so the Division 1, or I think all the Adelaide Footy League teams, you get 4 on the bench in the finals.
Yeah, and I think that is a wonderful rule.
There's
'Cause
an
you
argument to say, why don't we just have 4 on the bench
Yep.
through the season? That was debated last year.
Meanwhile, Bjorn's got it. Is he a chance to wrap it up? He jukes, he jives. He looks for Davis. He can't quite grab it. But if he can't grab it, he can put some pressure on. Back to Bjorn by the boundary for the mouth guard. Out on the full.
He's already won a mouth guard this year by Ewan, I think, so happy to miss that one.
Port District have had a shot and missed. 8 points is now 7. 23 minutes gone at Largs.
Won't be
Final
long
quarter.
to go there, will there? As there's an intercept here in the middle of the ground. Glenunga will go back inside 50 as we're trying to keep up to date with what's happening
With
at the
3
other
different
grounds.
games at once. We need an extra commentator, but that's life.
Where's Tommy Javor?
He's on assignment. He'll be back next week. It'll be the 3 of us next week. And it will be the 3 of us through the finals.
Looking forward to that, Phil. It's going to be an exciting final
is.
series. As Sacred
is.
Heart, still with plenty of time to go in this game. If they can get the next goal quickly, she's going to be game on.
Here's a chance. Lovelock has
Lovelock
been
out the
brilliant. Snap from long distance.
That's in.
He's kicked another one.
So we've got game on here now, Phil.
Lovelock's kicked the last 2, and they've been classy goals. I hope you're recording who's kicking them. No? Okay.
I've lost
That's okay.
lost track with
That's all right.
all the that's going on.
the same,
Lovelock's
yeah.
kicked 3 goals for mine in this game.
No, I got 4,
Wow,
and I might have
he's
missed.
having a beauty.
I reckon he's kicked 5, actually.
He
'Cause,
kicked the soccer
I
goal,
didn't make because he's kicked the last 2.
and he kicked the soccer goal in the 3rd as well, didn't he?
Yep.
And he kicked the contested mark in the
All
first
right.
quarter. So he's been very good, Lovelock, hasn't he? Putting in a late bid for player of the day, player of the game.
The good news is that all the other games will be over before this one is over. We're about 5 minutes behind the rest. So, this season is coming down to an absolute nail-biter because I reckon Port District have just gold. I'll get a
And-
score from you in just a tick on what that means. Meanwhile, this game,
This game has just
it is.
gone up a notch.
St. Peter's by 1 point.
Wow, and that must be really late in that game.
25 gone. It is Glenunga going forward. They have the lead. We've still got probably 10 minutes to go of this encounter. But for a couple of teams, their season is hanging by a thread, and St. Peter's have marked in kicking territory, in scoring territory, can't pick up the player, but the kick's going to be 25 metres out.
Now our production team do a great job, Phil, not having the stream at Broadview. Wow.
Well, okay.
There'll be a lot of people interested.
Sure, that'll be a discussion at some point, but
that's the game.
It's with Tap at the moment.
Tap.
So he has it at Sacred Heart. St. Peter's have their season in their hands at Largs. At the 26-minute mark, the kick is good. And the 1 point margin that St. Peter's had is now 7.
Wow.
Clock's just ticked over 26 minutes.
So there can't be long to go in that game, can there, Phil?
You
Hasn't been a high scorer, has it? So
now this, of course, is assuming both the stream there and the scoreboard there are in agreement. Bit of a stoppage here. 11 points the difference. Glenunga threatening, but Sacred Heart repelling for the moment. Good grab by Zach Smith.
it's been good today, Zach Smith. Again, part of a really good defensive back six for Glenunga. It's a good hybrid size. Zach Smith can play on talls and smalls.
And St. Peter's have won. St. Peter's Old Collegians, well, they did what they had to do.
And an update from Broadview is Broadview are 9 points up late in that game. So could be amazing scenes if that does occur, Phil. I know we've got to worry about this game, but
you just keep an eye on that for a second. 14-5, 89 Spock. Port District, 89-82 is the final. All right.
can Goodwood pull out a miracle in the last couple of minutes?
Well,
they have produced miracles in the past, Goodwood, in grand finals.
They know right now that their 33-year term, they've been around in the Division 1 as long as the Crows have been in the AFL. Same season it started, 1991. Zach Smith at Glenunga, if nothing else here, Adam, have done a pretty good job of just keeping the ball out of Sacred Heart's hands.
Zach Smith's been epic in the last 5 minutes as we're keeping an eye on the other ground.
And you've noticed through most of this quarter, they've been happy to tick down seconds at every possible opportunity as that goes out of bounds. Just going to do a quick check-in of Prince Alfred Old Collegians and Tea Tree Gully.
Is there still time in this game? There probably is
for
Sacred Heart to kick. There's only,
two goals.
Other games are finishing, but there's only 20 minutes in here, so there's going to be 6 or 7 minutes of football left. Not with a kick like that across goal, though. Could result in a turnover. If Glenunga score, it is game over. Innes touched on the line. That would have been game over there. Okay. Kerish. So they need 2 goal, 13 points.
We need to put that together because...
Assuming what's going to happen.
We've just ticked over 4:36. Can tell you it's all over, and Brighton have survived.
So Brighton are fine.
They beat Old Ignatians, not easily, 21 points.
It's a good effort from Iggy's late in the season. They had nothing to play for, obviously, today.
75-54.
Put in a good effort, Iggy's, in the last game in Division 1. They can be back in the future, of course, though. Schwartz is trying to kick a goal from 50 metres into the breeze. Dare say this will fall short. St. Peter's need to rush it through, but it could be that handy point, Phil. If it's 13 points, I dare say Glenunga will get the chocolates here.
Because at the moment, you got to run a play. You wow! Can't even. Was that a pass?
I think he was passing it. You'd like to think that he wouldn't have missed by that much.
The depth perception is obviously a little bit tricky from here. It was probably a bit out of his range. All right. I've covered as much as I can cover. We'll wait for you to get some updates from Broadview if and when they occur. Can tell you that St. Peter's have beaten Port District. That's put some cat amongst some pigeons. Can tell you that Brighton have beaten Old Ignatians. Just looking to get an update of Tea Tree Gully and Prince Alfred Can tell you that one is done, and Prince Alfred have won 105-56.
Meaning they'll finish second, Phil.
And that means Tea Tree Gully Broadview is going to need a percentage calculator if Broadview wins. So don't want to stretch your friendship with your mate.
No,
but
we're trying to get an update from Broadview.
Not just a margin, but also a score, an actual total.
An actual score. We'll see what we can do.
Because then they'll be able to work out the ladder and let everybody know before we finish how this crazy season has ended. Here, with every ticking moment, Glenunga look better. Sacred Heart's run. Some impressive play from Oscar Lovelock. I probably called him Archie in one of those plays, I'm sure. I apologise for that. But it is Oscar. Archie, of course, finding his way through the Sandful system at the moment.
Not convinced. Yeah, we've still got game on here.
That's right.
Sacred Heart is still in this contest.
They get another goal, you're going to need a second sheet. Kerish has it. Sacred Heart will go again. When they've had it inside 50, they've been pretty good with the conversion, but Bo Schwartz has taken the mark, and he's going to take all the time the umpires will let him take.
And an update from Broadview is that Broadview have won that game and Goodwood have lost, Phil. Game over at Broadview.
Okay.
I don't have a final score. I just know that
Goodwood
have
Saints
lost.
have been relegated.
It's hard to even say those words, Phil.
Yeah.
As you know, I coached the Goodwood Saints for 2 seasons, and relegation is not something that was ever spoken about or thought that would happen, as we see a great intercept mark.
And somehow St. Peter's Old Collegians will be in Div 1 next year. Well, that's kudos to them for their fighting qualities and not giving up on the season.
Yeah, they looked shot, didn't they, halfway through?
We called a game, St. Peter's and Brighton. The Brighton led by 19 points. Yep.
Happy with that? Yep.
Brighton led by 19 points heading into time on. And then St. Peter's kicked 3 goals and a couple of points and managed to come back and win. Everybody wants something and nobody got anything. It's getting late. 24 minutes gone. It's just a scramble. There are 32 players inside the 50-metre arc.
Who do we like for our player of the day, Phil? Michael Wonky goal or the Parsons barrel from 50?
So does Michael Wonky feature elsewhere?
No.
Okay, Michael Wonky. And I think this game is going to come to a conclusion fairly shortly. 25 minutes gone. It's exactly 12 points. A goal here, draw. Wouldn't that be something to end the season? Around the body. But if you have just joined us, all the other games are finished. Prince Alfred beat Tea Tree Gully. Now the voucher, just be a little careful. The voucher in here is, that one slides away a bit, so maybe hold it like that. And there's your siren. And for these two teams, the minor round ends. But bigger games are coming up. It's Glenunga 10-15-75. Their winning margin, is 11 points. Their winning streak is now 9 games. Sacred Heart, like they have through most of the season when they've lost, has been by less than 3 goals. And they've done that there. Made the most of their opportunities, but 25 scoring shots to 14 is always going to be hard to overcome. Adam Jeffries is headed out. We're going to have a our prize presentation. Don't know if the ceremony really cuts it. So we see some of the highlights, and gee, Arch, get this right. Oscar Lovelock, mighty impressive, especially in a purple patch, almost dragged Sacred Heart back under his own steam. Now, the one thing we don't know at the moment, because I don't have a score, is Broadview and Tea Tree Gully for the finals, because at the moment they're tied. So Goodwood Saints lost. St. Peter's won. Goodwood Saints are relegated. Okay. Word spreading. So this game sort of had spurts where there was not much happening and then spurts where everything happened. Third quarter was a highlight. Michael Wunke couldn't get here quick enough to get his prize. Adam's finding it is a bit of a tricky one. I think he's got his 3. He has, so we'll go to Adam shortly. Some of the match highlights, early days, second quarter. Abe Davis, you see why he's possibly going to be interviewed very shortly. He was pretty good. He kicked some goals, and when he was moved into the midfield, Glenunga got busy, and it was that little spurt late in the third quarter that set up a margin that in the end, Sacred Heart could not deal with. So, we'll go down to Adam Jeffries.
Yeah, boundary side, great win for Glenunga today. Thought they were cooked halfway through that third, but got through
With our 3 award winners. Firstly, Michael Wunke, Neo Mouthguard Play of the Day. Tell me, you've kicked thousands of goals in your life. Is that the best one you've ever kicked?
Oh, probably not the best one, but probably the luckiest one. I got it on the goal line, it cleared the pack and quick reflexes and managed to get it through. So, no, it was, yeah, might be up there maybe.
I thought you read that the spoil was going to hit there. You dodged 8 tacklers on the goalpost, kicked the goal. Well done, mate. Great goal. Good luck in the final.
Thank you very much, mate.
And our Moseley Bar and Kitchen award winner is Zach Smith for his great game of defence. Zach, have you ever played a better game of football down back?
Yeah, probably.
He has played. I thought your intercept marks late in the game were really, really good. Forming part of a back 6 band there, and no Sam Wunke today as well. You held on. So with him back, who's going to miss? Is that a tough question to ask?
It's at least the players don't have to decide it. It's the coach's headache now. So I think we all put in a good effort. So it's up to the coaches now, I guess. But it's a good thing to have.
Great position for Glenunga to be, well played. And Abe Davis, just be honest with us. Are you sick of getting best on ground awards?
I think there's a couple of blokes that probably go a little bit unnoticed, but I certainly I don't really enjoy the ribbing that I get when I walk into the room. So Zach's usually the first one to get into me. So
has he shared any of the vouchers, boys? Has he shared them, or does he keep them?
I kept one pair of thongs, not one.
Might need them coming into summer. We'll throw back to you guys. Well done to these 3 award winners and a great win for Glenunga today. Top week off. Well done, boys. We'll see you in the finals. Cheers.
Thanks for that, Adam. You're a born natural. Well done, mate. It's not the easiest thing to interview players post-match, round them up, give them some prizes. Adam did that very well. TJ, you've got a competitor, as they do get their photographs taken now. All right, so we have pretty much got everything sorted in the Adelaide Footy League except one. Glenunga, minor premiers, go into the second semi-final with a 9-game winning streak. Prince Alfred have finished second with their win and Sacred Heart's loss. They will host the qualifying final next week. That will be against Sacred Heart. Venue to be confirmed, Park 9. Let's hope it's there, and that now meets league regulations. The one thing I don't know is how the game between Goodwood and Broadview ended up margin-wise, because...
Try and get a margin if I can, Phil, because that's important, isn't it?
Well, Prince Alfred won by enough that if Broadview won by a bit, it's going to be reasonably tight. I think if I had to make a call now, I'd say I think Tea Tree Gully are in.
Do you think the Broadview people have the calculators out at the moment?
No one's got calculators. A lot of people have got calculators because they're on the same win-loss, and it's close enough.
I'm just trying to get a score through.
But that's all right. That's all right.
There'll be a bit of soul-searching at Goodwood today as well, my friend out there. So, what an amazing last round. And back onto today's game as well, Phil here. Great Glenunga, pretty impressive win, wasn't it, I thought.
Absolutely.
After they had nothing to play for, Sacred Heart went bang, bang, bang with 4 quick goals in the third. And even late then, Glenunga kept defending, didn't they? I thought Sacred Heart might have got one more game and my best on grounds would have been thrown out.
Yes.
But they held on, Glenunga, as they've done all season.
By the way, great job with the interviews.
Yeah, how did that
go? I love that.
I'm filling in for Tommy Javort
just
today.
throw out the ridiculous question and they get a laugh and you're there.
I'm not a nervous person, but when you get thrown into that situation, you just go, ooh, you get a bit of fright. But the boys were good, and Abe Davis is, he's been interviewed after nearly every match this season. He's the recruit of the year, isn't he, Abe Davis? You called it, Phil, when he went to full forward in the third quarter was when Sacred Heart went bang, bang. He went back on the ball, and that's what happened.
Went bang, 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 bang. And there's a lad who was probably a little bit unlucky.
Well, he had 2 great highlights landed.
He needed Sacred Heart to win to get a prize, because he certainly had his share of highlights.
And Lovelock as well played a great game as well, didn't he? With 4 or 5 goals.
Sacred Heart had a 1. He would have been amongst a prize winner for sure. And he kept it interesting.
At half-time, Phil, we were wondering if we were going to have any highlights in the match. In the second half, there was plenty, wasn't there?
There was lots to like, and
Lovelock's
of course
soccer in the third quarter was a great highlight. That was a great snap there on the run. Made that look easy, but when you're running at full tilt to snap the ball around your body is a great goal.
Probably means, I mean, we've got the finals coming up. It's a different brand of footy. Finals always is.
Yep.
These two have had their warmest. Don't think we had anyone seriously injured that we noted.
That's great news as well, isn't it?
Which is pretty important. And yeah, I think it would not surprise me in a year where we've had plenty of surprises if this is not a grand final matchup. Glenunga won both, but both narrowly.
Yeah, it's down to 3 though, isn't it, Phil? With all due respect to Port Districts, who are going to have to come from 4th. Their form in the back half of the season hasn't been great. I know they have some injuries and perhaps rested some players today. But I can't see Port Districts coming from 4th and making a grand final. It's down to 3, and all 3 of those teams, Glenunga are the favourite, and I think they've earned that right with 9 wins in a row, beaten everybody. But what have we got? We've got the club summary, Phil.
We might be going into the depths
Happy
of the
Glenunga
sports centre here. Something we've heard a fair bit the last couple of weeks. Of those last 3 games, and they have passed every test. Now they have the next test to pass of being the strong. They've gone from being, I think, maybe a front runner to being a favourite. I think they're now a strong favourite.
They are a strong favourite now, and they deserve that because they've beaten, like I said, I watched them play Prince Alfred last week, and they've counted for them easily. And you could argue today with 11 more scoring shots that they could have easily been won by more today.
Yeah, that piece of paper, by the way, that piece of paper we're going to need. There's your final score, so let's wrap it up. Glenunga win minor premiers, shock, Prince Alfred qualifying final next week. Elimination final will be Port District hosting, I think, Tea Tree Gully, but check the percentages, maybe Broadview, possibly. Goodwood Saints and Old Ignatians will be in Division 2 next year. We will be everywhere next week. Before then, we have the weekly wrap tomorrow. Between the Posts, special Division 1 finals preview with a cast of thousands. Both finals streamed in Div 1. Women's Grand Finals, congratulations to Golden Grove today and to Hectorville today. Div 6, Div 4 winners and Goodwood Saints leading Golden Grove. You can continue to watch that game if you want to now. And Adam Jeffries, thank you. And we are only just getting started because a new season begins with the finals.
Looking forward to it. The Division 1 finals are always exciting. This year will be no exception.
Thanks to our wonderful filming footy crew. Adam Jeffries, any last words before we say sayonara?
Looking forward to the finals, and well done to Glenunga today. And I'll have to say a quick commiserations to my old friends at Goodwood. Was not expecting that real test of character for them, but that's any team can get relegated, can't they, Phil? You have to earn the right to stay in.
I tell you what, there's going to be some wonderful facilities for Div 2 guys next year for sure. Karen Rolton Oval and Goodwood Oval. Anyway, thank you, Adam. See you next week. Thanks also to producer Hugo, our intrepid camera people in Liam and James, our boss John Douglas, and the entire Filming Footy family. Next week at Largs, Port Districts, probably Tea Tree Gully. Until then, thanks for being with us. You've been watching, thanks to Filming Footy, the Adelaide Footy League.
Permitted to copy, record, reproduce, republish, post, broadcast, transmit or make any of the service content available to yourself. You are not to authorise or assist anyone else to do so, unless given express written